Hello, good evening, everybody, and welcome to F1 tonight. We will be racing in Monaco. A race will be getting underway in about 5 minutes' time. In the commentary box, you have myself, Eddie, aka Woodscorp, and we also have Adrian VIII, aka Adrian. Good evening, Adrian.
Evening, Eddie. Hope you're well. Looking forward to
I
Monaco.
am very well, and looking forward to this race. It's certainly going to be spectacularly interesting, if nothing else, as Monaco normally is. So we will be back shortly in about 5 minutes. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to F1 Tonight, Season 5, Race 6. And we are in the Principality of Monaco, the jewel in the crown of the Mediterranean. And we are joined in the commentary box, myself, by Adrian. Good evening.
Evening, Eddie. Hope you're well.
I am very well, very well. And it looks like we've got a nice sunny course for Q1. So a couple of announcements. Q1, we will have a new driver coming on board. In fact, not just for Q1, but for this race, hopefully. And that's Jamie Collane, and he'll be driving the McLaren. So new rookie driver for Season 5 joining us at the easiest track of the season, isn't it, Adrian?
Yeah, piece of cake this one.
Piece of cake, no problem at all. We'll come on to that in a little bit. So he'll be joining us, he'll be going out, but he will be disqualifying himself.
Yeah,
So,
just want to point out actually, Jamie Collane is also known as Diverse Jamie, and he's one of the Synergy crew. He's based 2 full seasons with Synergy in Division 2.
Indeed, and a very capable driver he certainly is, and races in Division 2 alongside yourself. So he's had you on a few corners, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. Yeah. I quite like racing with Jamie, to be honest. It's I'm expecting fairly good things. I know it's been sort of tracking him in at the deep end of this track, but yeah, it should be interesting. He'll be starting from the back, obviously, disqualifying himself now as per the usual
watching
rules.
now, he's usual rules. He's just disqualifying himself, so he'll be starting at the back. And also Stan Drumkov for Williams has also disqualified himself. He'll be starting at the back as well, so they'll be starting 14 and 15 respectively. We have 15 drivers with us this evening. Obviously Stan Drumkov for Williams, Jamie Collane for McLaren, but we do not have racing this evening. Kevin Van Delft for Williams, John Donkel for Renault, John Muss for McLaren, and Nicky Visser for Mercedes. We also don't seem to have Boy Williamson for Mercedes in at the moment. Not too sure whether he's going to come in at the end of the session, whether he's just missing the cues, but we will find out in due course. So let's go with Marcel France in the Red Bull. He's currently out on track, and we'll start discussing the nuances of this track. Obviously everybody out on the Hypersoft at this moment in time, so no point in putting that on. But yeah, what can you say about Monaco? A lot of history, certainly in motorsport, isn't it, Adrian?
Oh yeah, it's one of the sort of most iconic Formula 1 circuits, isn't it, really?
Yeah, I think really next to Spa as a European track, and Monza, it probably rates up there, and it probably rates the top of those, actually, I would say. And when you see real world drivers, talking about it, they love this track because it is, and we were having a little discussion beforehand, it is such a measure of a driver's skill and capability in an F1 car round this track. It is just so hard, so many corners, short, high speed straights, and then some really tight corners, very tight on the barriers as well. I mean, to run offline here is, you have to make a major mistake really to run offline, I think.
Yeah, Monaco's one of those.
Although we will see it.
We will see it. Yeah, I mean,
we will see it, especially at Casino.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, drivers have to be sort of fully focused in just what I might call a normal Formula 1 race. But yeah, at Monaco especially, you've got you haven't got any run-off areas. If you do make a mistake, you're normally in the wall, and that's the end of your race. And in some cases, your career. If you hit the wall hard enough.
Yeah.
Also,
definitely.
Just want to point out as well that Monaco, the circuit, it's had the fewest changes made to it since its original design in something stupid like 1920 something, I think it was.
It was a long time ago, and I think it certainly was the early 1900s when motorsport first came about and came into existence. So yeah, absolutely, it is a very, very old track, and as you rightly say, but again, you know, how can you change a street track like this? Because it is actually an interval. These are actually the day-to-day streets of the Principality of Monaco. So
yeah,
they haven't exactly got a lot of space. So how you can't
No.
really change it, can you?
No, that's right. No, I mean the biggest change I think is the chicane, not the swimming pool.
At the end of the tunnel,
chicane.
the nouveau
At the end
chicane,
of
as
the
they call it, which
nouveau,
is the new
that's it.
chicane, turn 10
Yes.
and 11.
Yes, that's the sort of biggest change, and that's not changed very much since the original. So
No,
yeah,
it's
there's
just
not really.
there's not. I say a huge amount. It's probably a harsher turn, if anything. They've made it a bit easier.
Yeah, but yeah, it still maintains its its iconic status, and it'll probably be in Formula One for years and years and years to come.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and the complexity of it as well. This is what I love. This section here, coming through the swimming pool and then down to Rascasse, and this is critical. That braking turning point. It is such a tough track, really is. So Zander Hermans, he's put in a provisional time there of a 1:11.7. Zander Hermans, we just saw, won a 12.0. Guido Airshine, a 1:12.5 in the Force India. Davey Hartman in the Ferrari, sorry, a 1:12.6. Miguel Torni in the Red Bull is in the pits. He's done a 1:13.1. And Martin Pardakupa in the second Ferrari, he's done a 1:13.3. Well, that's not so bad. I'm quite impressed with myself. I did a 1:14 earlier on.
Okay. Not to burst your bubble, but these are the opening laps.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Adrian. I do understand that. There's no need to rub it in.
sorry, I was just putting it.
Oh, dear. Talk about, you know, shoot a man down in flames. Absolutely, yeah. Why don't you?
I can't say very much about myself. I've struggled to get into the sort of 13s. I could probably do a 13.9, and that is a real push. So yeah, no, fair play.
Yeah. Well, no, it wasn't. Fair play. I don't partake as much in the F1. I'm doing a little bit more Forza at the moment, which is different because it's just different sort of cars, and it's just F1. You have to have a real skill for it, I think. You know, give me a touring car, give me something I can bash into the side of the other guys, and I'll quite happily, you know, I'm okay with that. Or a GT.
So rubbing is racing, they say in those disciplines.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, rubbing is racing in GT. It's like you won't make that corner if you brake for it, but if you use somebody else as a brake, then you will.
Absolutely. Pardakupa, by the way, has just set the fastest first sector. I know we start talking about sector times about this stage, but yeah, he's looking like he's on a flyer. That's going to be certainly faster than France's time. I'm just trying to work out if it could be on for a sub 1:11.
I think we are looking at a 1:10, possibly even lower. It all depends on this final section as he comes through Louis Chiron and swimming pool and now up to Rascasse. But it's looking pretty good.
Oh, is he coming in?
Oh, he's into the pits. He's into the pits. He's into the pits. I wasn't expecting that. I was thinking, oh, okay, this is going to be good. But maybe he's just putting down, you know, getting the feel for it, and now wants a fresher set of hypersofts to give him the opportunity. I would suggest.
Yeah,
That's
could
probably
do.
what he might be looking at.
Yeah, could do. Reigning champion though, Seb Bogard. He's out on a fast lap at the moment. So just said a very similar first sector actually to. Who were we just looking at? I forgot who we were just looking at.
Martin Pardakupa.
Pardakupa, that was it. Yeah. Let's have a look at his second sector time as he comes over the line. Yes, that is about. He put it in the wall.
He's just taken a wheel out as he was exiting Louis Chiron. We were on board before he came into the swimming pool. Turns, went into the barrier on the left-hand side and took out his front left. So Seb Bogart will be starting at the back of the pack in row 6.
Wow. If there's one track you don't want to be starting at the back, it's Monaco.
It is, well, actually, it'll be row 7, so he'll be alongside, I think it'll be the new driver, Jamie Collane, actually. Yeah. So that's rather unfortunate. So Seb Bogart the current champion, and 65 points leading the championship at the moment. Not much in it. Sorry, 68 points. Davey Hartman's only 5 points behind him, and Rob Muldering is only 10 points behind him. So not good, and especially not at this track, Monaco, because the chances of overtaking are pretty much slim to none, really.
Yeah, there's no real place to do it. I mean, I've seen a few overtakes sort of just coming out of the tunnel. It's probably the most common. Maybe the start and finish straight as well, just into turn one. It's just so easy to sort of get it wrong and you know, take out the person you're trying to overtake and yourself. So
yeah,
I mean, but to be honest,
not easy.
To be honest, if there's one driver who probably could win the race from the back of the grid at Monaco, it might be Seb Bogart.
Well, let's put it like this. I think it's certainly going to make it interesting because, you know, a driver with the skill, as you quite rightly say, of Seb Bogart, multi-season champion, and, you know, certainly always been in the top three. So with that in mind, it's going to be very interesting how it goes. And his old teammate, Baz the Breen, is out on track at the moment. He's from the second fastest on a 1:11.855. Goes into the runoff there, getting out of the way of, I don't know who that was actually, just ahead of him. It was the no, it wasn't the
I don't know. The Breen's time, by the way. The Breen's time was quite lacking in the middle sector as well, so I have to say he's probably got a bit more to give, which caused a massive understeer in the casino. And he pulled off in.
Peter Phillips coming around now in the Toro Rosso. Let's run with him. He's yet to set a time. Now, the other thing, obviously, with regards to Seb Bogart there, and something that we will see during the course of this race, it's a tough race, it's a tough track, it's going to claim its victims, isn't it? I mean, there's no two ways about it.
Yeah,
I'm going to be DNFs.
Absolutely. I'm expecting probably half the field to not make it to the end of this race. Not through a lack of skill, determination, but it's just the nature of the track itself. I mean, it's infamous for cutting drivers' races short. Well, we've just seen that double champion Seb Bogart put it in the wall, so
exactly.
It's going to happen.
Exactly, it is definitely going to happen. And the other thing to say as well, I mean, short course, which means a lot of laps, 78 laps. I mean, this track is tough when you're doing 5-10 laps, but 78 laps, that is just, you're going to be absolutely drained if you make it to the end.
Yeah, and of course it's that number of laps because it is such a short track, but because it has such a low average speed, it's also the longest track in terms of race time as well. It could be pushing the 1 hour mark by the end of the race.
Yeah.
Sorry, the 1 hour, the sort of 1 hour 50,
2 hour mark.
By the end of the race, it's an hour in the 50%.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so 2 hours is what we're looking at. And the joys, because it's certainly going to be, I must admit, this is, it's also, unfortunately, not one of my favourite commentary tracks, I've got to say, got to be brutally honest about it.
Okay, that's interesting, because, I'm sort of quite excited about commentating.
Oh, I'm excited about it.
Lots of action.
Don't get me wrong, I am absolutely excited about it, because it is such a difficult track, but the problem is there is so little opportunity for overtake. When it happens, it's going to be beautiful and fantastic to see, I've got to say. But with the amount of DNFs as well, you tend to find that there's a lot of, how can I put it, positions. You don't see an awful lot of position changes. It's going to come very much down to the tactics or the strategy, effectively, that the drivers are adopting on this, and what happens on course as well. Because the unexpected, if it's going to happen anywhere, it's going to be at Monaco.
Yeah, completely agree there. Yeah, I mean we've just seen one sort of, moment of unexpectedness just now, and
Yeah.
yeah, I mean
I suppose the
there's going
best
to
way
be
to put it
plenty of
is from a
brilliant ones
driver's
like that.
point of view. I can understand. We were discussing this earlier, and you know, I do hate this track, but I hate it because I can't crack it, and I think that's the way a lot of people go. And when you crack it, the sense of achievement, and which is why I can understand real-world drivers talking about it the way that they do, because the sense of achievement when you get it right and you crack it is absolutely phenomenal on a track like this.
Yeah, well, it's not something I've experienced myself. I've never been able to crack it, as you say, in any any F1 game, and I've been playing since F1 '97. So yeah, it's not a
But
favourite for me in terms of
if you
racing.
did the perfect lap round here, Adrian, how
Oh
would
my
it
God,
make you feel?
it would be unreal. It honestly would be possibly the best feeling ever if I could nail this track
Yeah,
and just get my lines perfectly right. Yeah, I mean it's sort of, yeah, it'd be unbelievable.
yeah,
You know,
exactly, and
forget the
that's
race
it.
result, forget the race
Yeah,
result. Just being
exactly.
able to
Forget where you
race
come.
this
If you
track.
can crack it, to race it and race it well, and that's the thing. And I think that's why the real world drivers do love it so much. Because let's be honest, if this track were bought to the FIA now, they'd kick it out. There's no
Then
way
there'd
this
be no
track could
chance.
exist in modern F1 as a new track. It just would not
No,
happen.
no, completely not. No, I mean, you know, it's they could say it's one of the more sort of dangerous tracks, which it is. You know, you've seen sort of number of sort of quite serious accidents. Of course, there was I can't remember who it was. Toro Rosso flipped his car into the wall just before the tunnel a couple of years ago, 3 years ago.
Yeah, that was very nice. That was
What
just
was
where
that?
we are now, actually, with Guido Airshine. And the one that I remember profusely is actually one with Jensen Button, and that was about
Yes.
God, when was that? It must be at least 7 years ago.
Mm.
I think that was 2010, 2011. It must have been.
Yeah, could well have been.
And
Yeah, in fact, it was 10.
that was nasty, and that was down at Nouveau Chicane as well. I think it was before they made the change, if I remember rightly, actually.
Okay.
Or was it after? Or no, it was when they changed it. I think it was something like that. If there's
Yeah.
anybody out there that's watching or listening and knows which incident I'm referring to, then please put the information there, because all I remember is just Jensen Button. I think lucky to come out alive, actually.
Yeah, I know the incident you're referring to, and yeah, it was quite scary to watch.
But yeah, if it's going to happen, I mean, certainly I would expect, incidents Nouveau Chicane. I'd expect, actually, we're very likely. We say we don't see any overtaking, but I mean, the sector one is probably the best opportunity other than the exit of the tunnel. You certainly can't do anything in sector 3. There's no two ways about it. But sector 1 between Saint-Deveau and coming up to Mazenette before you get to the right-hand casino and down the hill, that you do see overtaking opportunities there. Certainly, I think, if there's going to be any.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out, won't we, where the drivers are brave enough to actually try and make the move. Just as the sort of session comes to a close,
Max Verstappen's just going into the pits there.
Yeah, Verstappen, I think he's happy with that lap because his final sector was actually a purple sector, purple by about 10. His first sector was lacking somewhat, probably on his full pace. He was almost a second down on the fastest first sector. But yeah, I think he'll be reasonably happy with what is achieved there.
Well, it's. I mean, I'm surprised with Marcel France, to be quite honest with you. He's done a really good session there.
Yeah, it's not a name you normally see at the top of the list. As I just said, it could just be one of those. This is just a track that just clicks for him, and he is able to excel where the other drivers can't.
Well, it certainly looks that way at this moment in time, and but very little in it between Rob Mouldering and Baz de Breen there. Very, very little indeed. Only 0.03 of a second between them, but only 100, or well, 1/10 to Marcel France and Rob Moldrink. So we've got 3 drivers in the 111s, number of drivers in the 112. So Zander Hermans, Marcel Droney, Damien Hartmann, Guido Ehrstein, Mark Stappers, Marco Pullen, Martin Parder-Cooper, and then a couple in the 113s there. So we're looking at some good times, certainly, I think, on this Q1. And we obviously know the drivers that we dropped there: Seb Bogart and Jamie Collane and Stan Drunkov for Williams. So the 3 drivers there. And we've got 13 drivers now remaining for this Q2. 3 drivers will be dropped. 10 will go through to the final Q3. And this is where we start to see the true colours now, isn't it, Adrian? Q2.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, they're going to show, perhaps not all, but certainly some of their cards in terms of what they are planning in the start of the race with the strategies. Obviously, the drivers have to start the race on the tyre they set their fastest lap in this session in, if they get into the top 10.
Yeah, indeed. So that means they're not really going to be out for too long. You're probably going to see 1 warm-up lap and 1 fast lap, and then into the and then a slowdown lap and into the pit. So they'll only be doing probably 3 laps on these hypersofts. So that's what they're going to be aiming for anyway.
Yeah, that's right. And then after that, once they are in, they'll just be sort of time watching, not sort of clock watching, but just keeping an eye on the other drivers' times and just see where they are. And if they are at risk of dropping out of the session, in which case they may go out on another lap.
And that's when it starts getting tricky, is when you've got those cars out on track, different people doing different things at different times, it can muck you up. I mean, we see it happen in the real world. It certainly happens in esports as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, I've seen it a number of times. Yeah, as you say, just drivers doing different things. And they're at different stages within their own qualifying session, and you know, nature of the game is, you know, you will get in the way of each other at times.
Indeed. So we're just going to go on board, get ourselves familiar with the track here for Martin Parder-Cooper's fast lap. So he's coming down the pit straight over the start finish line, coming down to first corner. Sam DeVoe, right-hander, goes uphill. Little kink left, Beau Rivage, and then he comes to Massenet, long left into Casino Square, right-hander, downhill. And he's heading now for Mirabeau Haute, turn 5, hard, turn 2, and then Fairmont hairpin. Want to be in first gear around there, then come down to Mirabeau Basse at bottom, turn 1, that's it, nice right. Then we've got the 8 at Poitiers, which leads him into turn 9, the long turn 9s through the tunnel. Watch the exit, go on the left hand side, then over to the right hand side, come down to turn 10, hard left, nouveau chicane, really slow, thread the needle through 11, build up the speed now as you're coming down to turn 12 to back, left hander, watch the speed, coming through Louis Chiron chicane, down to the swimming pool chicane now. Get on the right hand side, get yourself lined up for La Rascasse. And then the final turn 17, anti-nodes into turn 18, onto the start finish straight, DRS activated, over the line, he will come with a 1:13.438, not the fastest time we've seen, 2 seconds off the pace there, but for an opening lap, it's not too bad.
Yeah, 2 seconds off the pace. He is on the ultra-soft tyre, which is about 7 or 8 tenths slower than the hypersoft. Good time from Pullen as well. He's just gone to, he's gone a smidge faster. Oh, Baz de Breen's just gone a whole second
Baz de Breen's done a 1:12
on the ultras.
And they are all on the ultras, I would suspect, aren't they? No,
you got some.
Rob Moldrink. Yeah, we've got Rob Moldrink, Miguel Tourney, Mark Stappers, and Peter Phillips, and Zander Hermans. They're actually on the hypers. Now that is quite critical, because those hypers are probably only going to last about, what, 7 laps, 8 laps?
Yeah, about that. Zander Hermans actually, he's top of the board at the moment. 11.7.
1:11.707.
That's a good time. As I say,
he is on those hypers, and he's going to set that sort of time on the hypers. The ultras, obviously, a little bit of a different run there. Guido
Yeah.
Airshine, he's doing well, 112.5, and his teammate Marco Pullen, they're currently provisional 3 and 4, although Marco Pullen's just dropped down to 5 because Martin Parder-Cooper has just split the Force Indias there with a 112.6.
De Bruyne's faster. Sorry, De Bruyne's faster in the second sector by some margin as well. I think this will put him top.
Let's have a look. Oh my goodness, that is fast. Yeah, a 111.855, not quite, because Sander Herman's done a 111.707, so he's 1.5 tenths off that pace actually. So Zander Herman's again showing some great qualifying pace. And we're riding on board Marcel Dronig. He's just coming up to Raskas now to set his lap time. And it's not looking too shabby at this moment in time, got to say. Through Anthony Nogues into the final turn 8 there.
No, not too bad. Airshine's just gone top, by the way. 11.
He has. Airshine 111.589.
Fastest first and last sectors. Good time. We'll be on the hype stop.
Mark Stapper's coming over the line now. Can he set his time? No. He's coming out for it now. This is his fast lap now.
Dronig
Are you going to see anyone breaking into the 110s?
I don't know. It's certainly not in this session, but in Q3 I think we may see it. But also debris down by the casino hairpin, that section.
Oh right, has somebody gone into the wall there? Oh, Jamie Collane is actually gone out. So, but he'd already gone out. So what's he doing? Oh, he's in P13 anyway. I think he probably came back on track and had a repair.
Dronig was looking to improve his lap, just tagged the wall on the left side just after the tunnel. Yeah, he won't be happy with that. He was looking good.
Riding on board now with Mark Stappers as he comes around Raskas. Not looking too bad. It should be around about a 112, I would suspect. Lower, actually. Yeah, 112.0. Wasn't too far off. It puts him up into provisional P4.
Fastest last sector again for Stappers.
So Mark Stappers, Rob Muldrink is out on track now as well, his teammate. Let's see what he can do in this other Sauber now. Rob Muldrink is currently third in the Drivers' Championship with 58 points. He's only 10 points behind Seb Bogart. And remember, Bogart will be starting at the back after DNFing in Q1. So it's important for Muldrink to get as far up that field as he possibly can. He's somewhat in a danger zone. Currently P9, no time set, obviously. Oh, look at that. Guido Eschlein, 111.589. Rob Muldrink, 111.638. So only 1.5 tenths off there. Second, provisional second. That's really that's good going.
That is on the Microsoft side. I don't know where that luck come from, because his first and second sectors were, I don't want to say average, but they were not the fastest times. His last sector though was purple, an 18.5 dead, and as I say that, Amy Hartman has actually put in the fastest second sector. He's going to cross the line shortly.
Yeah,
his first sector's good too. So
this is looking good. Damien Hartman, look at that, a 110.8. We were saying, are we going to see a 110? We weren't too sure whether we'd see it in this Q2, but we have a 110.899. That really is going some, isn't it?
Yeah, big time. He's actually he's consistently faster all three sectors. Not the fastest first sector, but still faster than the couple of drivers behind him in that sector. And then his second and third sectors are sort of 2 or 3 tenths each.
Well, I was just looking there. Both Damien Hartman and Guido Airshine are on the Hypersofts, so that's going to be interesting, because this is what they're going to have to start the race on. And just trying to see actually how old those tyres are. He's really taking it very gingerly on the way back.
Yeah, he's only a lap old. That's only his first attempt.
Yeah. So taking it very gingerly on the way back, really taking care of those tyres. And remember, they're going to have to start on these tyres. And we were saying they're probably, well, I doubt very much they're going to go much further than 8 laps on this track. But it is low speed, but it's, I don't know.
It's intense. It's intense, and there's very high downforce
a lot of pressure
on the circuit.
There is, yeah.
Yeah, drivers tend to run with sort of, I mean, me personally, I run 10, 11 wings, so 10 on the front out of 11, and 11 on the back out of 11. So, yeah, it's very, very high.
So, there's a lot of pressure. I would say 8 laps, if you do 2 laps on those tyres, as it is effectively, it's actually 3 laps, because obviously you've got to do the warm down. Yeah. You probably only got about 5, 6 laps life left in those tyres, really, haven't you?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
and that means you've really got to pull out to get that second set on. And then the question is, what do you go on to? Do you go on to the super softs?
Well, there are some options, aren't there? Drivers do like to go on to the super softs, knowing that they're going to be slightly slower than the drivers who haven't pitted, who are just ahead of them, because that will sort of open up some clean air for them. I mean, you could go on to the ultra soft or even another set of Vipers, but then you're forcing yourself to then have to fight through that traffic, and if some of them are on the super soft tyre, that might prove difficult.
Well, I think there's certainly the preferred option is going to be to go on to those super softs, certainly for that second stint after the first pits. I mean, that is generally always the tyre of choice, unless you're out of position, because this is the other question now. Obviously, Seb Bogart's going to be out of position. He does have free rein on his tyre choice.
He does.
So on that basis, is it worth starting on the super soft? On the super softs, if you're at the back, because let's be honest, you're not going to overtake on track. You're going to want to do it really on the pit, so you want to stay out as long as you possibly can, and that's probably the way to go. Oh dear, and Sander Herman's going into the barrier there, knocking a bit of his front wing off as he was actually coming round Fairmont.
It's unfortunate, but no, you're quite right in what you say. Super soft tyre's got to be the tyre of choice for Bogart. I mean, all he's got to do is sort of sit behind them for 5, 6, 7, 8 laps until the hypersoft runners come in, and then a few more laps until the ultrasoft drivers come in, and then he's got that's his opportunity to make up ground when he's got nobody in front of him. Plenty of downforce, plenty of grip, and he needs to put the times in. Then I wouldn't worry so much about the start of the race if I was him.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you. I think that's going to be the way that he is more than likely going to go. But we will see how that goes. Marcel Dronig is out on track at this moment in time. But we've got just under 2.5 minutes remaining. 1:10.8 still stands for Damie Hartman. Guido Airshine, impressive on the 1:11.589. But remember, they are on those hypersofts. Then we've got Rob Mulderink. He's currently provisional P3, 1:11.6. Sander Hermans, only 1/10, 1:11.7 off him. Baz de Breen, only another 1/10.5 off him. He's currently 1:11.8, P5, P6. Marcel Dronig just coming into the pits now. So everybody's in the pits. Nobody's really challenging. I don't think we're going to see anybody else come out now. I think that's pretty much session done, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd have thought so. There doesn't seem to be much sense in there. Going back out, you've got 10 drivers remaining.
Because Mark Stappers, he unfortunately DNF'd in that session, as did Marco Pullen and Marcel France.
Well, was Stappers' retirement, was that not in the pit?
It could have been in the pits, I've got to say.
I don't
P7, it may well be.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it could be connection issues as well, because I'm showing them as greyed out, so I'm not too sure whether they just decided that was it or not, but we'll see.
Yeah, possibly. It looks like some of the drivers are
retired. Yeah, they have. They just retired from the session there. They obviously didn't feel as if they were going to set any better time, so they're retiring from the sessions before the session time's out. So that is effectively session over, and we'll be going into Q3 with those top 10. So it's Damie Hartman, Guido Airshine, Rob Muldering, Zada Hermans, Baz de Breen, Marcel Droning, Mark Stappers, Miguel Tawney, Martin Parder-Cooper and Peter Phillips. In the drop zone, starting row 6 will be Marco Pullen in the Force India. Alongside him will be Marcel France in the Toro Rosso. And in row 7, as we can see there, Jamie Collane. Although I'm not too sure, I think he started the session accidentally and probably had to retire again. So we'll have to see how that pans out. He might be starting P13 or 14. We'll see how that goes. Obviously, we've got Seb Bogart at the back there as well, with Stan Drumkov in the Williams. So, final session just about to start. This is F1 tonight, the only full race distance league that I know of, and I haven't been corrected so far, and I've been saying that on every single broadcast. So yet to be corrected on that one. So yeah, full race distance league. This is season 5, race 6, Monaco. The drivers track, I'd say. The drivers track and race, definitely, because the sense of achievement when you get it right here, as we've discussed, is absolutely phenomenal. Unfortunately, I haven't achieved those dizzy heights, and I think Adrian hasn't quite achieved what he would term to be the perfect lap here either. So and he's got far more race experience certainly than I have. So it's going to be very interesting indeed. We're going to expect strategy to be coming into this heavily. We've been discussing overtaking. It's almost impossible to overtake on this track, but I think we're pretty much agreed sector 1 is a good opportunity, certainly between turns 1 and 3. Also the start-finish straight, because obviously we've got the DRS there, so we should see overtakes on that start-finish straight with the DRS.
Yeah. The only thing I don't agree with putting a DRS zone there, because it's not, for me personally, it's not long enough, and also they put the DRS zone too far up the straight for it to have any real impact. But you never mind now. You've got the introduction of ERS modes as well. This this
2018
game,
version of the game,
2018, that's right, yeah, which didn't have previously. So we may see it. Let's hope we do.
Well, it'll be interesting. And as you rightly say, the DRS, I mean, you can see overtaking there, but generally it's giving you that advantage into that first turn of Sandoval, really, trying to get your nose ahead for that turn. Yeah,
that's right. And yeah, as I said, getting it wrong, you're going to end up not only taking yourself out, but probably taking the driver you're trying to overtake out.
Yeah, and anyone else that's around you, unfortunately. So now this is going to be an iconic camera angle. Certainly that hairpin there.
I love that.
Expect to see a lot of that, and what you're going to see is something you don't see very often in a race, which is basically an F1 traffic jam.
That's right. Eddie, are you aware that the cars themselves actually have a special steering rack fitted just for this track, so they can make that corner? They won't normally be able to make that turn.
They wouldn't normally be able to make that corner. I didn't realise that, but thinking about it, it makes all the sense in the world, I have to say.
Yeah, I only recently learned that, sort of earlier, late last year.
So, here we are with the opening lap now for Martin Parder-Cooper.
Through the hairpin.
Yeah, here he comes round now. Not too sure how he's not looking too bad. Sector 2 there, coming into the tunnel now. I think we might see a 112. I don't think we're going to see a 111, but we'll see. It could be corrected.
To bring fastest by 2 tenths over everyone else at the moment in the first sector. 7 drivers have crossed the line for that sector.
So we're into sector 3 now, the final sector for Martin Parder-Cooper.
Oh, Ershon lost it. Ershon lost it at the end of the tunnel. That chicane, Nouveau chicane.
Oh dear, but he's still on track, so.
Yep. De Bruyne fastest in the second sector as well.
112.8. So 112.8 for Martin Parder Cooper. De Bruyne just coming round. Final turns now.
He's going to smash that, I think.
Oh, look at that. 111.3. Not quite smashed, but not far off. I mean, what are we looking at there?
So second and a half from the same tyre.
Second and a half, yeah, it is second and a half.
Oh,
yeah.
the Damien Hartman. Damien Hartman, 10.9. He loves this track, doesn't he?
He certainly seems to be 110.9. That is just phenomenal. It really is. Sander Hermans not too great at 120.1, so he clearly made a mistake. Guido Erschein was in the pits. Rob Mouldering is on his outlap. Miguel Tourney in the pits. Mark Stappers is just coming around Casino now. Let's go with him. We saw him do a purple in Q2, final sector there. So he's obviously getting his mojo together in that Sauber for this track here. His teammate is just behind him on track, Rob Mouldering. So both Saubers line astern. As they come through the tunnel, I'll tell you, the exit of that tunnel can be so tricky.
Yeah. Yeah, you just so tempted to just put power down.
You are, it really is. You just sort of like, no, I've got to ease off. But no, surely, put your foot down.
Droning,
does a 110.6.
Yeah, another improvement. You know what's interesting about
time there?
Interesting about that lap from Hartman, his first and second sectors were slower than his previous lap, but his last sector was something like 4 tenths.
Look at that, Mark Stappers, 111.2.
Nice.
He was looking good, I've got to say, and that is looking very good indeed. Baz de Bruyne has definitely improved. He's gone on to the 111.3, but he's running on the hypers. He was running on the... Oh no, he was running on the hypers on the previous Q2 as well, actually. So he's obviously getting a little bit better on those.
Sander
puts in a
Herman.
better lap, 111.7.
Yeah, he's on a purple first sector as well. Although he has got some traffic in front of him, I think that's.
I think it's the Ferrari.
Yes, yeah, Damien Hartman.
Yeah.
Who's on a cool down. Hopefully it won't put Sander off. Good second sector, not the best, but still he's on par. I think he's going to be.
He's coming into the pits.
He's gone a bit deep. No, he's gone deep.
Little bit of a wiggle there as he's coming around out in your nose.
Yeah, Herman went very deep there in the final final section.
Didn't help him. Now you see again. You see he's out. He's got 3 laps now on these tyres, and he's chasing the time now. But he doesn't really want to be doing that because he could need this set of tyres. He doesn't want to put too much wear on them, and he's slowing it right down now. He's slowed it right down now. Yeah, fully aware.
Well, they will. Yeah, they will lose completely the 2 most worn sets.
Dearie
of
me,
tyres
and he
in the session.
fluffs it. Oh, he's moving aside there for the Force India of Guido Erschein, who's on a fast lap. So he was just moving across there on the hairpin. It's right on board with Guido Erschein because he's still to set a time. So we've got a Ferrari engine lockout at the moment for row 1.
Decent first sector from Guido. Decent second sector as well. This is going to be interesting.
He's looking very, very fast indeed. He's a couple of seconds ahead on Raskas.
It's not bad that last corner.
Oh, 111.
There's a
111
P5.
441. He just lost it, I think, on those final set of turns. But that was that was good going. Well.
Yeah, last sector was
row.
last sector lost about 2 tenths.
Yeah,
on the other drivers.
He just didn't. It's that final sector not quite coming together as he wanted for the previous 2 sectors. But he's going for it again. I think he is going for it again. Actually,
it's Baz being fastest in the first and second sectors as well. Actually, this is
he's coming up to Raskas now. Round Anthony Noakes. There you go, into the final corner there, turn 18, onto the start-finish straight. Oh,
He's
look
done
at
it.
that! A 110.2. Wow, that is flying. Now, Damie Hartman is just coming round the swimming pool. Oh, sorry, coming down to back, coming into the third sector.
While you're watching the immersion, has just gone fastest in the second sector, about across the line now.
Oh,
He's got
wow,
second.
110.3 seconds. Damie Hartman's not going to touch that now because he's obviously going to go, but this is when he's going to release the full power. Let's go on board with him now because I think we could be seeing an interesting lap here from Damie.
All on nothing now from Hartman.
And this is the corner. This is so tricky. You've got to really ride that curb on the left-hand side. Drop downhill now.
It's good. Oh, he's too tight to the
a
wall.
little bit of a flutter there. It's
Yeah.
going to lose him a couple of tenths. Good on round the hairpin. Comes into the tunnel. He's got a car ahead of him, I think. That's the Red Bull of Miguel Torni. Not too sure. Yeah, he's eased off.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's eased off.
So time for one
He's
more.
got too much traffic ahead of him at this moment in time, so he's going to have to. Wow, he's got first lap done on that. Does he go for 3 laps on those tyres?
Come on, look at the
I
traffic.
suppose the traffic is nothing you can do. This is the thing. This is what I was saying earlier, wasn't it? Do you remember at the start of the queue? This is when it gets tricky because you're going to hit traffic. There's no two ways about it.
He's in. Oh, I thought he was coming in.
No, he's not. He's just letting the traffic past. He's letting his teammate past as well there.
Yeah.
So that was Martin Parder-Cooper.
Puts a little something of a sort of buffer between him and the traffic.
Yeah.
Letting it releasing his teammate.
Because Parder-Cooper's riding on the tails of Miguel Torni in the Red Bull. He's just coming round Casino now. Down to Mirabeau Hull. Down to the infamous Fairmont hairpin. Nicely done there. And you can see the 2 Ferraris just behind him. Through the tunnel.
Hartman's caught Parder-Cooper probably a bit quicker than he anticipated.
Should have done. He needs to ease off again. But he needs to keep the heat in those tyres. That's the difficulty.
He's still going for it. Still going for
Traffic
his
behind
lap.
still. Yeah, and his teammate's just letting him through.
Yeah.
So Parder-Cooper letting Hartman through. And that's another. Oh, dearie me! A little bit of a side swipe there, and again on the exit of the swimming pool. Obviously, Miguel Torni's aware that he's got Damie Hartman bearing down behind him, and it's just put him off a little bit. Let's see what Damie can do. Well,
Yeah, his lap was invalid as well.
10.6. It was invalidated,
Wasn't
actually.
it? Yeah, validated through Nouvelle.
Well, we've got 36 seconds remaining and a number of drivers on track. Let's ride with Rob Moldrick here because I've got a sneaking suspicion that he could improve on that 110.8.
Oh, Damie's out of fuel.
No! Damie has run out of fuel now. That's it. Now, Rob Moldrick has the opportunity to actually get ahead of him on that second row, possibly into the first row, but I don't know. I don't think he's got it. No, I don't think this is the faster time.
No, I don't think it is.
We're getting some drops of damp. There's some water coming down. There's some rain coming down.
There is, yeah. I was just about to say that, just to mix things up a bit more. Yeah, looks like the
final
heavens are
session,
starting
does
to
that mean
open.
we could see a wet Monaco?
It's possible.
Oh, and he does it! Look at that, 110.1. I said he was looking fast. Could he get a little bit further up? He's managed to get into P1 right at the knock-ins. What a fantastic result. Damie Hartman, well, he's out on track, but he's run out of fuel. Mark Stappers, he's out at the moment. I think he's the only man that can do anything. Yes, he is. So Mark Stappers is the only man, but he's on a cool down. He's taking it easy as well. So there you have it. And we didn't actually do our normal call out there, did we?
No, but yeah, I would have picked Rob anyway, so don't worry about it.
I've got to say, I was looking that way myself. I've got to be honest, I really was. I was thinking that in Q2.
I was actually thinking
looking
of
fast.
I'll be perfectly honest. I was thinking of Hartman for pole. He was 7/10 up in the last qualifying session. Looked like nobody could touch him, but yeah, just didn't have a good run in this session. Fair play to Moldering though, because he didn't once set a purple sector in the entire qualifying sessions, Q1, Q2, Q3, and there he is getting on pole position.
Well, that was certainly good going and good result there from the top three. Very, very little in it. I mean, 1/10 to each one of them. They're all in the 110s. 110.185 from Rob Moldering, a 110.287 from Baz de Breen, and Guido Airshine, a 110.371. And Damie Hartman's 110.622. So he was the only one that was pretty much out really there. 5/10.
Yeah, I wouldn't have put Hartman fourth here, but there he is in row 2.
Yeah, I think he just got caught out basically with that traffic. That's what cost him.
Yeah, absolutely affected him.
So there you have it, and well, we've certainly got a different front row here to what we would expected. We've got Rob Moldering will be taking P1, row 1, alongside him Baz de Breen in the Renault. Row 2, Guido Airshine in the Force India, alongside him Damie Hartman in the Ferrari. Row 3, Mark Stappers in the Sauber, alongside him will be Marcel Dronig. Row 4, Zander Hermans in the Toro Rosso, alongside him fellow team Miguel Torni in the Red Bull. Then we have row 5, Martin Parder-Cooper in the Ferrari, alongside him will be Peter Phillips in the Toro Rosso. Don't forget, we got Seb Bogart at the back there as well. This is lining up to be rather an interesting race because good pace shown by Airshine. He's tough to overtake, I know, and he will be on here, but I think his shortcoming could well be the pit stops because he does a few, but it could well play into his hands here. I don't know. With those sort of times, he could afford to do some hyper soft, ultra soft stints and maybe throw in a super soft somewhere in the middle.
He does seem to come up with some, I don't know, wacky strategies in terms of tyre choices and things. But there's certainly no denying his pace around here. So obviously one of his favourite tracks. But yeah, no, it's going to be. It's difficult to call. I know we're going to sort of talk about possible race winners. I've got someone who I think might win, but then I've got someone who I think will win.
Well, I've got to say, I'm going to go with the pole sitter. I'm going to go with Rob Moldering for the win.
Yeah. That was my might win.
Oh dear. Well, you can go for the same. You can go for the same one, Adrian. I'll let you.
My will win is Seb Bogart from P14.
Okay, so I'm writing that one down, Adrian. So there's no denying that one. Right, okay, so let's go through our runners and riders on the formation lap here. So we have Rob Moldering in the Sauber is P1. Alongside him will be Baz de Breen in the Renault. Row 2, Guido Airshine in the Force India. Alongside him will be Damie Hartman in the Ferrari. Then we have row 3, Mark Stappers in the sister Sauber to Rob Moldering. He's in P5. Alongside him will be the Haas of Marcel Dronig. Row 4, Zander Hermans in the Toro Rosso. Good horse pace, and he's really improved. I've got to say, Zander Hermans really coming along, certainly in this season 5. Miguel Torni in the Red Bull will be alongside him. Then we have row 5, Martin Parder-Cooper in the Ferrari. Alongside him will be Peter Phillips in the sister Toro Rosso. Then we have Marco Pullen in row 6, P11. Alongside him, Marcel France in the Red Bull. Then we have the new driver, rookie driver for this race. What a race to start the season with F1 tonight. And that's Jamie Collane in the McLaren. We have Seb Bogart alongside him. Very much out of place. Went out on the swimming pool turns, took out his front wheel in Q1. So he's in P14. And Stan Drunkov in the Williams, bringing up row 8 in P15. So we'll stay on board with him while he gets lined up.
Sorry, my battery's like...
You didn't miss much, Adrian. Don't worry about it. That's just going through the positions. So they're lining up now on the grid. Lights will be coming on shortly. There they go. Lights are on. And they are off for the start of this F1 tonight. Monaco Grand Prix. Rob Mouldering stays ahead. Baz de Breen stays there. Guido Airshine, Danny Hartman. Oh dear, and the Ferrari there. And Martin Pardacoup going right off track at the back. His teammates staying ahead. Mark Stapper's still in P5. Everyone's staying in their position. Martin Pardacoup has actually got ahead one, but I think that was a bad... I think he'll have to give the place back because he could get points to that. Seb Bogart's already moved up one past Jamie Culhane.
Oh, Culhane's just gone into the back of Bogart.
Oh dear, Culhane has just DNF'd. He's gone into the back. Seb Bogart, don't know how much damage Seb Bogart has got there. Was it Seb Bogart? Yeah, he must have gone. So Jamie Culhane, unfortunately, first race here for F1 tonight goes out before the end of lap one. That's rather unfortunate.
Yeah, it was unfortunate. He did. He was talking to me sort of privately earlier today about his chances for this race, and yeah, he thought that something like that might happen. So,
oh dear.
Yeah, we like I said, we have thrown him into the deep end, but yeah, race goes on.
It is very much the deep end. It's got to be said.
Yeah.
So Bogart has moved up one. Obviously, Stan Drunkov moved up one. Now, this is where I want to see what happens. I want to see what these tyre choices are. Yeah, and Seb Bogart has started on the super softs, as has Marco Pullen as well, because obviously he was right down out of the knockings there. But the drivers pretty much, we haven't seen anything more, but Baz de Breen is closing in on the back of Rob Mouldering here, really is applying the pressure to him. He's only 4/10 off the back of him. Is he going to be looking to try and make a move through the tunnel on that dirty side, do you think?
Yeah, he might well do. It's very interesting to note that Mouldering, actually, he's running mode 0 on his ERS. So he's mode 2 now, but he's got sort of fully ERS. He's managing to kind of, I wouldn't say back the pack up, but he's dictating the pace of the pack, because he knows that, well, you know, everyone knows it's difficult to overtake here, so he can comfortably run mode 0 without risk of being overtaken. So I think this is going to work massively in Mouldering's favour. His tyres are going to sort of thank him for this.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he's trying to give as much life to those tyres as he possibly can. Zander Hermans, everyone's gone through into third sector. Zander Hermans bringing through the tunnel. Martin Pardacoup behind him, and Marco Pullen. Now, Martin Pardacoup, not a good start to the race for him, not at all. Down in P13, well behind the leading pack there.
Yeah, and his teammates in the pit
Hartman's
as well.
Into the pits.
Is that damaged? I don't see a wing go on.
Could be. You stay with him. I'll stay with the front runners. And Baz de Breen still applying the pressure to Rob Mouldering here. Has he had a nose change, Damie?
I don't think so.
He's only gone on to the Ultras, so interesting. Seb Bogart's already moved up into P8. Look at this, Seb Bogart already up to P8.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got a plan in his he's got a plan in his mind, and he's sticking to it religiously at the moment. Yeah, doing what he needs to do. He's staying with the pack as such.
Now remember,
he'll be picking those off as they pit.
Runners, we expect them to be coming in probably in the next 4 or 5 laps, maybe less. So that's going to mix things up. So that's going to take Guido Airshine and Mark Stappers out of the mix and move up Marcel Dronig and Seb Bogart. I mean, we could see Seb Bogart within about 5 or 6 laps, I think, actually up to around about P4, P5.
Yeah, I think you're right. And that's purely, well, not purely, but it's...
Marcel France has gone out.
He was looking fast.
Yeah, look at that. He's gone into the barrier on the exit of Anthony Nogues just after the entrance into the pits. So Marcel France is our second DNF, sorry, of the race.
Virtual safety car was what I was wondering if that was being deployed. Dangerous position.
Yeah, that is in a very dangerous position there, it has to be said. So VSC has been deployed. Now, what does that mean? Well, they need to maintain the gap to the car ahead of them. albeit a reduced gap, but for percentage-wise, it's the same, effectively. I think that's correct, isn't it? It's by percentage.
Yeah, that was a sort of roundabout way of explaining it, but yeah, it's,
it is a roundabout way of explaining it. You're right.
What it is, they have to reduce their pace to approximately 40% of sort of race speed. And because everyone has to do that, it's like having everyone, if you remember like Scalextric's circuit, everyone's on the same track, the same slot on that track. So they're all driving at exactly the same pace. So nobody gains or loses any time. Yeah.
So that's how VSC works, but I think that's actually off now. Yes.
Yeah.
We are back under racing conditions. So, Baz the Breen, he's clearly on the gearbox here. They're both on the ultra softs, but Baz has got to be coming off worse, surely, because he's in that dirty air of the Sauber. It can't be doing him any favours to be that close.
No, it can't. But at the same time,
he's got a bit of a wobble there. Had a bit of a wobble into the entrance of the tunnel.
Yeah. It's difficult because he wants the clean air, but he doesn't want to allow Mouldering to pull too far away. Bearing in mind that his tyres are wearing out at a slower rate than his own.
Whoa. Sorry, but definitely getting wobbles here from Baz the Breen as he was coming through the Simcoe complex. I don't think he's going to be on these ultra softs as long as we expect. So the ultra softs I would expect to probably go around about 12 laps thereabouts, maybe 14.
Yeah. I'll sort of take it away from that. I can't work out the 100% distances, but we'll find out where we as time goes on. We'll see what the longevity of these
Those
tyres.
hypersofts are actually on 11 laps now. I was expecting to come in a little bit earlier than that, but as you say, we will see how that actually runs. Oh, Zander Hermans sets the fastest lap with 1:14.5, so he's got to be in some clean air there, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, Zander Hermans, he pitted
3 seconds
to
Damien Hartman.
He pitted at the end of lap 2 or 3, I think. So yeah, he's been able to put in some fast laps. He's actually set the fastest lap, and he had the fastest lap prior to that as well. So he came out the pit.
Now, is Baz the Breen, do you think, going to respond to whatever Mouldering does? He's just going to stay with him until he goes in, or does he think, okay, if he goes in early enough, I'll quickly try and see if I can put down a quick lap? It's a real tough one because you're going to have to decide very quickly and on track, aren't you?
Yeah, unfortunately for Baz, Mouldering is dictating to him what's going to happen effectively. If Mouldering knows that the Breen's tyres are wearing out faster than his, so he knows that he's going to have to blink first. So I think Mouldering will be able to just sort of, call his bluff and just stay out longer and longer, and the Breen will have to come in first. He'll have to.
Damien Hartman setting the fastest lap now, 1:14.078. But interesting here, Guido Airshine is closed right down as well now to Baz the Breen. And I think this was a result of what you're saying, that Rob Mouldering is dictating the pace here. He's holding them back. Is he looking to do a bit of a real world Hamilton here?
Oh, okay. Possibly.
Do you remember Hamilton? I think it was last year. I think it was 2017. He really backed up. I don't think it was 18.
Oh, sorry. So it looked like Pete Phillips has got an overtake Dorney into Newville. They've actually got Seb Ogard behind them. They've had him behind them for a number of laps now. I think. I think Bogart might be getting slightly frustrated. He's managing to hold, keep his nerve. He's backing off, but they're just making it difficult for him to sort of progress in this race, which they're entitled to do, of course, racing for position there.
Yeah, but to be fair, I don't think he's looking to do the moves. I mean, he's done obviously some moves, certainly on track to get up to PA. He's taken 5 places. And I think that could be from the pits of the people that came in ahead of him. That said, though, he's going to be ahead of them anyway. He's on the Superstar, so all he's got to do is just stay there and hope that they don't stay too far off the pace of the lead drivers, really. That's what's going to make his job more difficult. He needs these guys to speed up. He wants them to race and get a move on.
Yeah, that's it exactly. Yeah, he's not perhaps looking for the overtake, but they are holding him up. He is, funny enough, still gaining on race leader Rob Mulgrew, but not at the pace he was before he caught the two drivers ahead of him.
We're riding on board with him now as they come out Nouveau Chicane, up into Tabac and into Sector 3.
I'll keep an eye on the battle for P1 while you're back there.
Yeah. But you're right, he is clearly got the pace, and he is, I think you're right, he is getting a bit frustrated because he can see these guys are dropping down and the time's dropping down. It's not going to do him any favours. He's probably about a good 15, 16 seconds now behind race leader Rob Mulgrew, and I would suspect he wants to be a little bit closer than that. He probably wants to be at least another 4 or 5 seconds closer.
Yeah, that's right. I think once they come in, we'll see him make up a bit of the gap. But I mean, there's a long way to go in this race. So you know, it's not be all and end all that he is sat back there. We've lost Sam Drunkov, by the way.
He nearly went into the back there, sorry, of the Toro Rosso of Peter Phillips, as they were coming down to Fairmont Hairpin.
It's another VSC, Eddie. Safety car is back out
VSC,
again.
VSC, and that's Stan Drunkov by the looks of it.
Yeah, that's right. Nouveau.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
That's a bit unfortunate. Oh dear, a lot of debris there. I can see him on the left-hand side. Oh yeah, that's not nice. That is not pleasant. Yellow flags being waved as Martin Parder Cooper comes around to try and see if we can.
Oh, 25 seconds.
5 seconds stop go for Peter Phillips and Miguel Tawney. Both for speeding in the pit lane.
No, ignoring yellow flags, sorry. It was ignoring yellow flags.
I was ignoring yellow flags. Oh, right. I thought it was pit lane. I think Miguel Tawney was actually in pit lane.
Yeah, I'll check the race director.
So 10 laps, effectively, on those.
Yeah, apologies, Eddie. It was Tawney for speeding in the pit lane and Peter Phillips for ignoring the yellow flag. Both happened at the same time.
Yeah, they literally did set one straight after the others. So we've had a few come into the pit. Still debris there on Nouveau Chicane on the inside, but no worries. It's off the racing line.
Bogart's been released. Bogart's been released by the two drivers, Phillips and Tawney, both coming in.
Yeah, so he's up into P5 now. And that's where we said he was going to be, more or less, when the first pits sort of came about. So there we have confirmation of that. And yeah, I mean, so far, it's got to be said, so good, really, for Seb Bogart. He's going to go up into P5. He's got Damie Hartman on his tail, obviously, but that's going to be interesting. But Damie's on a different strategy there. He's running on the Ultrasoft, so I don't know. We don't see them pit around about the same time, but I don't think so. I think those Ultrasofts, those Ultrasofts will definitely come in before him. Yeah.
Yeah, they're only 2 laps newer, so yeah, you'd think that he would come in sort of considerably sooner than Bogart. This is not what Damie wants at the moment, to have a driver on supers ahead of him on track.
The other thing to say is Guido Airshine is the only man in that top 5 at the moment. It's currently in P3, but he's running on the Hypersofts. And those Hypersofts are now 10 laps, coming up to 11 laps old. Oh, nearly goes into the wall there. Very, very close. Nearly takes out his front wing as he was just coming around that final turn 18. Just into it, rather. Mark Stapper's got a 3-second time penalty. Not an easy one to get on this track, but it can be done. So, but
Like,
Baz de Breen is back on the gearbox here of Rob Moldering, isn't he?
yeah,
I think he
yeah.
can
I think
smell
that's
blood.
yeah, and I think what Baz might be trying to do, because you get a fact it's 62 match, we'll see what that's for. What Baz might be trying to do is just, if nothing else, put the pressure on Moldering, force him to make a mistake, force him to think about where de Bruyne is, and just put him off his lines. But don't think he's going to be able to make a sort of legit overtake on track.
Well, he might have an opportunity, I feel, on this DRS straight. I've got a sneaking suspicion that Molden's going to be coming in, and this is tricky as well because it's the pit entrance is very quick out of Raspass, and if you're trying to follow the guy ahead of you, you can easily miss that pit entry, can't you?
Yeah. I've done it many times, especially since they changed the which side of the garages the actual pit lane is on. So now on the right hand side, back in the day it was on the left hand side, a bit of an easier pit entrance. But yeah, it's very easy to miss that pit lane. And Airshine's in.
So Airshine is now in. Thought he'd have to come in. Now that obviously has now released Dronig and Seb Bogart, so they're up to 3 and 4 respectively. And it's not going to be long, I think, before we actually see Seb Bogart.
Safety car.
Safety car is out.
Sorry, was retired. Sorry to interrupt you there. That was a bit sudden. That looks like. I thought it was Nudo again.
Yeah, no, it's chicane. It's the chicane.
Yeah.
The chicane, sorry, it's the hairpin.
Okay.
Anthony Noakes. I think he may have been cleared now. Yeah. He's actually.
De Bruyne's in.
De Bruyne is in.
Significant. Oh, he's got a
and Moldering stays out.
De Bruyne's got to stop though.
No! Oh, that is really going to muck up his race. What's that for speeding under the yellow?
Yeah, speed under yellow. Just as they come into the pit lane, he didn't slow down enough. And if you're under the delta as you come into the pit, it doesn't matter how slow you're going at that point. You will be penalised. It doesn't allow the time to sort of rectify itself.
He's coming out of the pits now, but he's going to serve that stop-go, and that's going to really ruin his race. He's going to drop right down, I would think, almost to the back of the pack if he has to serve that. He's probably going to try and serve it. He's going to want that safety car to stay out as long as it can because he wants to try and serve it straight away, really, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, best to do it during the safety car than under race conditions. But you know, on the flip side of that coin, they will be bunched together, and he will be at the back of that pack. So he's got to sort of wait until the next stint to be able to make any moves.
And this has really mucked things up, but it's a great opportunity for Seb Bogart.
Yeah, I was just about to say exactly that. Yeah, it's played into his hands very well. He was. While he was stuck behind Peter Phillips, he was 20 seconds off the leader. He's now just 5 seconds off, and there's a safety car, so it's going to be about 2 in a minute.
Right, so this has really mixed it up. Remember that Seb is still running on those super softs. They're 13 laps old. I would suspect they've probably got about another 13 laps or so remaining. I would expect him to come in round about mid-20s, high 20s, especially under the safety car, because you know, that's just doing him major favours, really, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm sure he's driving around with quite a big smile on his face at the moment, as they're following the safety car. He's able to manage his tyres.
So I suspect the safety car will be coming in at the end of this lap 15. Now, on that basis, the question is here, obviously, Baz is on a fresh set of ultras, and he's not coming in. He's going to try and see if he can serve that penalty. He's going to try and see if he can get ahead of these guys. That's the only thing he can try and do. He's got to try and get past Dronig and Moldering and try and get some clear air so that he at least starts to bite into that negative effect of that stop-go. He's got to, surely.
Yeah. I think he will. Well, I think he should at least. And then he goes into the back of Jonig.
Ooh. That was close. He very neatly went into the back of him as they're coming into the tunnel there. He doesn't want to do that. He's got enough pain to deal with. But on the flip side, I mean, you know, we're probably, what, well, not quite, about a fifth of the way through this race.
Yeah, something like that. Not quite at the moment, but the safety car is in this lap, as you rightly predicted.
End of lap 15, yeah. So, Rob Mouldring's going to be backing them up in a major way. He's going to open it up on the exit of Raskas. That's what he's looking to do. And they are really
just been
backed
handed.
up.
Sorry, Droning's just been handed a penalty for a severe collision with Mouldering. And how much damage there was to the car.
He's gone into the pit.
Droning's
He's going into the pits.
Yep.
Mouldering is out. Droning's gone in. So that's now released Baz the Green into second place, but he's still got that 5 seconds. This is going to help him, but he needs to try and get past Mouldering, and he's now 5 seconds down the road. He's got Seb Bogart bearing down on him, and Damie Hartman close in behind him.
Yeah, he's going to have to do something now. I'm surprised Mouldering didn't come in during that safety car period. I have to say. I think he might have shot himself in the foot by not doing that.
Well, I would suspect, what does he do? I mean, does he go onto the Supersofts when he comes in? I don't think that's what he was looking to do, actually.
No, but he could have done that. He could have done that during the safety car. It would have been very sensible to slip onto the Supersoft tyres, come out in sort of P5 or 6. Yeah, and then just bake cat and mouse slightly and wait for them to.
But then again, if he's aware that Baz has got that 5 second stop go, is he trying to see if he can stretch out that gap so that he can actually stay ahead of him? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I don't know if he would be aware of that. He'll be aware of time penalties as such, but I don't know about stop goes. I don't think Jeff mentions that. Miguel Tony with another 5 second stop go speeding in the pit lane. Because that pit line, the limited line is literally right as you come
there.
It's
right.
Pit,
it's literally as you come off the track. As soon as your back wheels are off the track, your nose is over that line.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, it's just catching drivers out at the moment. I think that's one thing that drivers, myself included, sometimes forget to practice is the actual pit entrance and exits.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I don't know of anyone that does that, to be brutally honest.
But it can catch people out in the races if all they've done is time trial, even Grand Prix, you know.
But the thing is, you can't simulate a tyre change during practice, can you?
No, you can't. No, that's why I prefer doing it in Grand Prix, because then you'll get it under sort of race conditions, and you can. Oh, Bogart's in, by the way. Bogart is in.
Yeah,
no penalties
Bogart
as he
come in. Now, that's interesting. He's only done 16 laps on those softs. Super softs? What's he looking to do? I thought they'd go deeper.
Yeah, that is interesting. He's coming in so soon. Oh, it's a new wing. There's a new wing on Bogart's car.
Oh, is that the damage that he got from Dronig?
No, Dronig hit Mouldering. Oh, well, yeah, actually. Did he hit Mouldering?
Yeah, sorry, he did. Yeah, Dronig hit Mouldering. That's you're right.
Yeah.
As the Green is right in tight on Mouldering now as they're coming through the tunnel. I think he's going to try and make a move down into Nouveau Chicane. No, can't do that there. But he is all over the back of Mouldering here.
He must be sick of staring at the back of that Alba. He's had it in his sight, especially the entire race. Still just half a second, 3/4 of a second.
TRS is having zero effect on that straight line. That means Mouldring's got to be running with a substantially lower downforce, interestingly enough.
Yeah, could do. plenty more ERS though. It's completely full because he doesn't use it apart from on that straight in the and through the tunnel.
Now this is where De Bruyne is really making up the difference. He's on that middle sector. I think he is actually faster on that middle sector, which means he's got the higher downforce, and I think that is why Moldrick is just running with much lower downforce. Because if you watch him on that start-finish straight, even with the DRS, De Bruyne is just not getting anywhere near him.
Yeah, coupled with the ERS, yeah, it's just not really got a chance.
So he's closing him down, really closing down on the swimming pool there, right on his gearbox. And that's where he's got the advantage. But the problem is, the track is just too tight to take advantage of that into the corners. Watch this now. Watch Moldrick. Moldrick is pulling away from him.
Yeah, Moldrick's using mode 4. Brings is only staying in mode 1. He's not really looking for the overtake on the start finish.
No, he's not. I think he's going to try and see if he can do it on track. And look at that. He's literally riding the tails of Moldrick here.
It's just a matter of just. Looks like it's just going to be a matter of who sort of blinks first in regards to sort of making mistakes.
Bogart said divisional fastest time, a 1:13. He's come out in P8. He's on those ultra softs, and that's what he's going to look to do. He's going to try and see if he can actually cut through this field. I don't think he can. I think he's. I don't know. Well. Such a great first stint. I'm not too sure what he's doing here, to be honest.
Well, Bogart at the moment then, what is he, 24 seconds behind Moldrick, who is on the same, no, he's not on the same strategy, but he's a pit stop behind Bogart's pitted, and Moldrick has not, which means that they'll be roughly on par with each other. I think they'll be... yeah, because as that safety car come in, Bogart was about 3 seconds behind the race leader, and I think he will be still 3 seconds roughly when Moldrick comes in, unless Bogart can now. He's got clean air in front of him. This is, as we said, this is where he's going to have to put those fast laps in, and this will make the difference. And that is another fast lap.
Well, Damien Hartman now is also on the coattails very shortly already. Now as they're coming around hairpin, Baz De Bruyne. But he's equally on 18 lap old ultra softs, and Rob Moldrick on 20 lap old ultra softs. Baz De Bruyne on a much fresher set there, and he's wanted to try and take advantage of that, and that's probably why I was saying he's much faster in those first and final sectors.
Yeah. Worth noting as well that Stappers and Ershine as well, they are in this fight actually for the race lead. It might not look like it at the moment, but they're on relatively young tyres, and they're only Ershine's only 4 seconds behind the leader.
I think Moldrick's not coming in. He's staying out. Sorry, I was just on board there with De Bruyne, but yeah, no, I agree with you. I think Ershine and Stappers very much in the mix there, because. As you rightly say, 12 lap old ultra softs, okay, but 9 lap old ultra softs on Ershine's car. That's not looking too shabby at all. I think Ershine's actually on his way for a podium finish this evening.
Yeah, it could well be. Although he's just scraped the wall just at the top of the hill. It's at the end of sector 1. I forget the name of that corner.
Sorry, top of the hill.
Damage. Yeah, top of the hill, just at the end of...
Before you drop down to Mirabeau.
That's it, yep. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's damage.
Okay, so at this moment in time, Miguel Torni bringing up... Oh, he's gone into the barrier there around the final corner, taken out his front wing. Severe damage there to that Red Bull. He's having to obviously complete this lap. He's going to have to come in for a nose, and that's just adding insult to injury to poor old Miguel there. Bring up the rear with P11. He's 12 seconds off the tails of Marco Pullen. Marco Pullen now also struggling round the hairpin, Fairmont hairpin there. And I think he may have I don't think he's got any damage, but he may have done slight damage to that front wing.
Ershon's in the pit. Ershon's in the pit. He's got young tyres, but he's in the pit.
Yeah, he's got on to another. Well, we said it, didn't we? I knew Ershon was going to pit at least three times.
I think a new wing went on that car. He was stopped for quite a long time. I couldn't quite see the wing going on, but yeah, it looked like he must have taken a bit more damage than
now
thought.
Behind Marcel Dronig, his own teammate from last year in the Renault. So Ershon is now riding the tails of Dronig, who's on 7-lap-old Ultrasoft. So yeah, not going to be easy. Hits the barrier there again on the exit of Casino. I think that's what it was. I think he had nose damage. You know that earlier hit that he did?
Yeah.
I think that's what it was.
Safety car again.
Yeah, safety car is out. And it looks like through the tunnel.
Yeah. It's the second safety car, and we've had 2 virtual safety cars as well, and we're not even halfway through the race.
Just trying to see where that was, because it was yellow flags as they were coming into the tunnel. Yellow flags as they're coming out of sector 2.
This is throwing Bogard another lifeline.
Can't see where he came off actually.
No, I haven't seen a car.
No. Safety car is out anyway. So yeah, this really has. This is interesting because Rob Moldrick now is on fresh set of Ultrasofts. He's in P4. He's going to be right up close and personal to Stappers, Hartmann, and De Bruyne. And they're all on much older Ultrasofts than him. This is looking good for Moldrick at the moment, I would say.
Yeah, it's played quite well into Rob's hands. Yeah, I think he's another driver who's going to be having a smile on his face.
Well, this is certainly very interesting. Now, surely these guys are going to have to pit under safety car. If I had anything at all, I would come in now. And I tell you what, Ershon's ruined coming in that bit earlier now.
Yeah, that's right. And you'd think that all of the top 3 would come in sort of right now. I know that will release Mulberry, but it'd be kind of silly not to take advantage of this.
Well, I would certainly expect Hartmann to come in.
Oh yeah.
At the very least.
We'll see.
I'd be ultra surprised. He stays out. Hartmann stays out. Now that, I think, is a big mistake from Hartmann. I think he should have come in there. Stappers, well, he's on 15-lap-old Ultrasofts now. We know they can go deeper. 20 was the limit that they've been taken to. Although that said, Martin Pardicu was on 23-lap-old Ultrasofts. Now, why hasn't he pitted? You know, the second Ferrari there. Both Ferraris staying out. I mean, 22-lap-old Ultras, 23-lap-old Ultras. You'd want to come in, surely.
Those tyres on Pardicu's and Hartmann's tyres, both Ferraris, they have both experienced 2 safety cars during those 22 or 23 laps. So I think that's quite a true representation of the
that's a fair point. That is a fair point. But even so, that said, they're going to be pushing those limits very, very soon once they get going again.
Oh yeah. And as I said, you know, it's silly not to come in during the safety car period.
I don't know if it's going to come in at the end of lap 25 here. I think it actually might be coming in at the end of lap 26, which is going to be very interesting because we will literally have all the cars line astern.
Yeah, what safety car normally does is it waits for the driver who's last. Oh, there we go. It waits for the driver who's last to join the pack, and once he's done that, it then comes in.
So it will be coming in this lap now.
Yeah.
Baz de Bruyne is leading the pack. Damie Hartmann is close in behind him. Mark Stappers there as well. And Rob Moldrick. So I'm going to go for an in-car on this one. And Rob Moldrick nearly going into the team. His teammate, Stappers.
Phillips is in.
Baz de Bruyne's pulled away. Damie Hartmann up close now, trying to get that closer to him.
Bogart just passed Pardacupa on the safety car restart there. It's beautiful on the start and finish straight.
Oh, I missed that. Sorry. So Seb Bogart moves up to P5, takes the place of Martin Pardacupa in the Ferrari there. Apologies for missing on that one. Wasn't expecting that, to be fair, and probably Pardacupa
No.
wasn't either. He was caught on the hop, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was a bit.
So there we have it. We've got the Saubers line astern of Stappers and Mouldering. Damie Hartman going through the tunnel. Baz de Breen exiting now, coming down to Nouveau Chicane. And this is looking good for Baz de Breen, I would say. He's 12-lap-old Ultrasoft, not looking too shabby. He's got Damie Hartman behind him on 23-lap-old Ultrasoft, so he's going to be coming in. So he's looking to that gap, really, to Rob Mouldering. And, well, what can you say? He's on a lovely fresh set of Ultrasofts, because they've done next to nothing. 2 laps under the safety car. That's the man he's going to be watching. And Stappers takes the place back from Bogart. As,
no,
Stappers comes into the pit, sorry.
Yeah, Stappers going into the pit, and because the pit lane is shorter than the actual corner.
Yeah, it looks like he's taking the place.
It's fine.
Now,
so Bogart up to
he's having a new
now,
nose put on, so Stappers is having a new nose put on. I thought that might be the case.
Okay.
So Stappers is having a new nose put on. Bogart's moved up to P4. Mouldering stays in P3. Hartman in 2. And Baz de Breen is pushing out that lead at the moment. He's got to be using that ERS up, surely. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, de Breen needs to he needs to set these fast laps now while he can. This is the only first time in the race where he's not actually had Mouldering in front of him. In fact, he's got nobody in front of him, so it's now down to him to sort of show everyone else how quick he is, and those laps will benefit him massively in terms of his race result. Because this is where the race is going to be won and lost now.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got clean air ahead of him. He's got probably at least another 6-7 laps remaining on those tyres, and this is really needs to push that gap. I mean, at the moment he's not doing too bad. He's got to be doing probably 7/10 jump on Damie Hartman at the moment per lap by the looks of it.
Well, on that last lap it was actually 1.5 seconds on Damie Hartman. It was 7/10 on Mouldering. 7/10 on Mouldering. It was on only 4-lap-old tyres.
Yeah,
de Breen's 7/10 faster.
So that is the man that he needs to go up against, and they're going to probably pit not too far off the same time, and I would suspect they're going to be nose to tail before that happens. So that is going to be interesting. We've seen that already, but certainly going to play. Seb Bogart, well, he's there in P4. We questioned Guido Airshine, but after those pit stops, he's well, not pit stops rather. He's got himself up to P5, so he's not done too bad. He's on a fresh set of Ultrasoft, so we did question that. I mean, we're approaching, well, within the next sort of, what, 10 laps thereabouts, halfway mark. So he's still in play, isn't he, Airshine? Even though we weren't sure about that pit stop, he is still in play.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, I think the safety car might have had a little bit to do with that. But,
I think it might have done.
He's certainly stood in the mix even after breaking his front wing.
Yeah, so let's see how that pans out. Martin Pardacupa, he's down in P6 at the moment. Not been a great race for him. He was showing good promise, certainly in the first stint, but hasn't really paid off for him, has it?
No, not really. No, I mean, he's made one or two mistakes. Well, he had quite a serious mistake on the first corner, I believe.
Yeah.
Went
he
off
went
wide.
right off the track, went off wide on turn 1.
Hasn't sort of really recovered. Well, he's recovered up to P6, which is something.
Yeah, I mean, he started with P9, so it's not too bad
points.
to go, but it's not. He was showing promise to be sort of right up there, but then it just sort of went sort of horribly, sort of not quite the right way he was looking at, basically. But I think the safety car has certainly helped him. Marco Pullen, he's down in P7. He's not done too bad either. He's moved up 4 places. So obviously started P11. and Peter Phillips, he's up 2. But let's not forget we've got a number of DNFs, and we'll come on to those in 1 second. Mark Stappers, he's down in P9 at this moment in time. Marcel Dronig in the Haas, bringing up the rear in P10. Those DNFs were Miguel Tawney, Zander Hermans, Stan Drumkov, Marcel France, Jamie Collane, and that's it. John Must, John Dunkel, Kevin Mandelf, Boy Williamson, Nicky Visser not racing this evening, so no Mercedes in the mix this evening, if you were wondering. And we're with the race leader, but Damie Hartman's keeping him respectable now. He's maintaining that gap to just sort of around about 4.5 seconds, isn't he?
Yeah, De Bruyne's pace has actually dropped off significantly in the last 2 laps. I mean, he was setting 13.5s when he was pulling away. Now he's back down to 15.1s. And you compare that to the 14.60s of the 2 drivers behind him.
He's replenishing his ERS, I bet you, because his ERS was pretty low when he was doing those lap times. So he's obviously harvesting at this moment in time. But I'm just running on board with Rob Mouldering, and he is definitely all over the back of this Ferrari. And certainly in that Sector 1, he is very, very fast, very much closing down on Damie Hartman in the Ferrari ahead of him as they're coming down into Sector 2.
Yeah, I think Damie's tyres might be coming to the end of their life. And all the while they're fighting, the man behind them, who started 13th, 14th even, is catching them lap by lap.
Yeah, definitely. Seb Bogart is very much going to be in the mix here. But I'm looking, I've got to say, Rob Mouldering and Guido Ehrschein, I'm surprised by Ehrschein. I didn't expect that. But the more I look at it, the more I think, hey, he's still looking good for that podium.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just over 15 seconds off of the race leader as well. And obviously, race leader is actually in, De Bruyne is in the pit.
So De Bruyne has gone into the pits. He was on 13 lap old ultra softs, remember. What's he going to go on to now? I think he's going to go on to those super softs, you know.
He is.
He is.
Super softs now.
Yeah, that would make all the sense in the world to me now.
The pit crew were not able to work on the car for the first 5 seconds because we were serving this stop code they incurred early in the race.
Now is the time to serve it. I think he did well there, got into the lead. And if you recall, when I was saying if he wasn't going to come in there, he would have to get into the lead and pull out a gap to Damie Hartman, well, Rob Mouldering in particular. And that's what he's done. I mean, he's come out now, P7. It's not going to look too bad. He's got at least 4 cars ahead of him that will certainly pit before him, and then that'll give him the opportunity to close down the gap. So he's going to be up in 3rd place before long, I would think.
Yeah, I think it will be a podium for De Bruyne, but yeah, I mean, if not for that penalty, you know, he could have potentially won this race. I know it's not over yet, we're not even halfway through yet, but you know, he could potentially be looking at P1 rather than P3. And speaking of P3, Bogart is in P3 and is 3 seconds behind the leader now.
Yeah, definitely. Seb Bogart is closing up that lead. Rob Mouldering still in, up and close to Damie Hartman. But Damie Hartman, 30-lap-old Ultrasofts, surely they're coming to the end. I mean, you know, I appreciate, obviously, he's had 2 safety cars effectively under that, but even so.
Yeah, I mean, there is one driver who's done more laps than him on the same set of tyres, and that's his teammate, Parker Cooper.
Parker
so
31 laps,
I wonder if Ferrari have they gone home early or something? Is there nobody in the garage?
Well, Damie Hartman and Rob Mouldering fighting out there, and Rob Mouldering takes him beautifully on Nouvelle Chicane. Hartman tried to come back, but couldn't make it, so that's released Rob Mouldering now. But I don't think there's an awful lot that Damie could do. I think Damie's going to come in now. He's got to come in now, surely. Yeah, he is. Yeah, Damie Hartman's in. That was a wise move, although I've got to say, see what happens. He's going on to a set of super softs as well now. Seb Bogart moves up to P2. Jamie Hartman will come out in P3. Oh no, Guido Airshine does take the place. So Guido Airshine moves up to P3 now.
That's significant. That's going to make it difficult. That's going to make it difficult for Damie.
Now, Parter Cooper's gone up to 5, but obviously he's going to need to come in pretty soon as well. So Seb Bogart is now chasing down Rob Mouldering. Guido Airshine is in 3rd place. Damie Hartman on a fresh set of super softs is in 4th. Although that said, he should go deeper certainly than the 3 that are ahead of him. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and while Airshine and Damie battle for P3, you've got their respective teammates battling for P5. Parter Cooper on very old tyres, just ahead of ahead of Pullen. And looks like he might be trying to replicate Mouldering.
3 second time penalty there for Airshine on track.
Okay.
That's not going to help him. No, definitely not. So, as you rightly say, Pullen on the back of the sister Ferrari there, replicating what's going on ahead. I think Parter Cooper's going to have to come in. No, he stays out. He's going to have to come in soon, surely. Now, Baz the Breed is behind these two in P7 now on that fresh set of super softs. But yeah, he needs to get up closer to him, but he's not going to worry too much there. Peter Phillips, he's currently in P8 in the Toro Rosso. Mark Stappers in the Sauber's dropped down to P9. And Marcel Dronig bringing up the rear there in the Haas, but interestingly enough, he's on the super softs as well, so he's 7 up, so he should move up the order. I would suspect that's probably going to move him up about 3 or 4 places again, so probably up to P6, P7 once the next round of pit stops come on.
Yeah, that sounds about right to me. 6. The battle for the lead at the moment. I know we've had 3 different leaders of this race, but yeah, Bogart now just 1.2 behind Mouldering, gained 7 tenths on that last lap, but 7 on the previous lap as well.
Yeah, but he's on an older set of Ultrasofts, let's remember. I mean, they are 6 laps old, and that can be a significant difference.
Yeah, it can be. I mean, to be honest, even if Bogart does pit first and try to work the undercut, I think that could pay off if he can maintain that kind of pace and get lucky slightly with the traffic as well. That's going to be quite important. Still plenty of this race to go.
There is, and the thing is, we're only more or less halfway through. We're still not quite halfway through. The other thing to bear in mind as this race progresses, those back markers are going to start to play a very, very important part. Round about, I would say, probably 3/4 of the way through this lap. So I would expect round about lap sort of 50. So in 15 to 20 laps, those back markers are very much going to come into play.
Yeah, and they will have an effect on the race of these races. They'll try not to, of course, but it's pretty inevitable when you're approaching another car, regardless of whether it's trying to stop you from taking it or not. It will affect your race and your pace and your concentration.
Well, the problem here is, how do you get off the racing line? There are very few places where you can get off the racing line in a safe way without stopping effectively. That's the other thing, you can't stop.
No, that's right. Yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult to pass. It's difficult to pass on the racing circumstances, and it's even difficult to pass when you're trying to let them pass. So yeah, it will be awkward, but I'm sure drivers are sort of experienced enough and knowledgeable enough to know the best places to do that.
Yeah, absolutely, and there are comms between all the drivers, so they are aware of what's happening, and they do sort of warn each other and advise each other what they're doing. Especially on the pit entrance into this particular track as well, they do announce it. just to save any tears, effectively. So at this moment in time, Rob Mouldering leads this race. He's got Seb Bogart on the back of him, but I don't know. It'd be interesting to see how this one pans out. Guido Airshine, he's in P3 at this moment in time. He's 10 seconds behind those guys in Ps 1 and 2. But he's not looking too bad, not looking too shabby. 15 laps, certainly on those old softs. We know he can probably go another 15 laps, but at least. But that said, that's probably about it, actually, because we've had those safety cars under the other guys. Then we've got Damie Hartman in the Ferrari. He's currently P4. He's just over 6.5 seconds behind that Force India of Guido Airshine. His teammate Martin Parder-Cooper is about another 13 or so, 13.5 seconds behind him, 14 seconds actually now. Then we have Marco Pullen. He's getting up close and personal still with that Ferrari. Got him in line of sight, not within DRS, but not that counts for a hell of a lot, although it can make a difference. Baz Sabreen, he's still down in P7, and he's just waiting to see what happens ahead of him, really. There's not an awful lot more he can do. He's in a good spot there with those super softs. He's probably going to be looking at an ultra soft or hyper soft final stint, but you know, he's certainly got very close to the Force India at this moment in time. Might look to make a move on the start-finish straight. Don't know if he's got the speed. Oh, yeah. And Parder-Cooper is into the pits. So
yeah, I mean, it's inevitable. It's inevitable that he will get past, and we'll get past Pullen as well, because Pullen will have to pit. He won't want to be sort of behind him for too long, but unfortunately, we might have to be.
Yeah, but as I say, the advantage is those tyres that he's got. He can just ride it through.
Yeah, that's right.
That said, though, you've got to be so aware of what's happening up ahead with the other drivers as well, and the times that you've got, because it's all about, you're racing. You may have a car ahead of you that you're racing, but you're not actually racing him. You're racing a car that's 2 cars ahead.
Yeah, that's it, exactly. I often use that feature, you know, when you ask Jeff, who am I racing? And he gives you he gives you 2 drivers that you should be sort of, you know, focusing your race on. Often those drivers are 3 or 4 cars ahead because they are on the same strategy or similar strategy.
Well, similars or ones that you could effectively circumvent in some way with your own strategy. Yeah, so we are now officially just over halfway through this race, and if you feel like that now, just take a few seconds to think how these drivers are feeling right now.
Yeah, I mean, I struggle to do even 50% at Monaco, but yeah, I don't know how these boys do it. Full race distance, 300 kilometers of this track.
300 kilometers of basically continuous twists and turns.
Sounds like a nightmare, doesn't it?
It does. It's like, you know, somebody would say to you, I want you to drive from one side of the Alps to the other, from Italy to France, but you can't use any of the tunnels.
Yeah. That's a good analogy.
It would drive you nuts. And not only that, it's the speed that you're doing it as well. I mean, okay, albeit we are obviously on a track, but then again, I use track, I think in this case in inverted commas, because Monaco is actually a fully functioning roads, effectively, around Monaco.
Yeah. No, just regular roads. There's no purpose-built track in any part of this circuit.
I've got to say, would I be correct in saying I think that is the only street circuit where that is the case, because all the other street circuits do have certain corners which are specific to the track.
It could be. I don't know about Baku. Is Azerbaijan, is that all
No, I don't think Baku
road?
is actually saying that. unless at the end of sector 2, before you get into sector 3, turns 14, I think it is. It's the only bit that I think that might not be a strict part of an actual street layout.
Okay.
That's the only one I can think. But other than that, no, you're absolutely. All the rest of it is definitely street, which is amazing when you think about that start-finish straight. Not many stretches of road like that in city centres. Let's be fair.
No.
So we're running on board at this moment and happening with Baz the Breed because he is trying his best. And he's really applying the pressure there to pull him. And I've got a horrible feeling something horrible is going to happen before long. That's why I'm intently staying on this one, because this is, you know, I mean, I know Bogart is obviously hassling Mouldering up ahead, but yes!
Oh, bro, the Breen's lost a piece of wing.
Front wing damage onto the Breen there, went into the back of Pullen as they were coming round the hairpin, and that is not good. That is not good for the Breen. He is going to be... Oh, I would love to hear the language that's coming from him right now.
That was a bit unexpected. I was about to say we don't often see situations where Pullen is put under sort of quite a lot of pressure from perhaps a faster driver. I didn't expect De Bruyne to sort of crack first, to be honest. I know he might have just mistimed his.
Yeah, he's coming into the pits and he's got Puller just there, and they're both into the pits. But what did I say?
And they're pitting together.
What did I say literally seconds before that?
Yeah, very well called. That was a bit of magic there. Or a commentator's curse, or whatever you want to call it.
I'd say it's magic. It's magic. It's magic.
Very good impression.
It's like pulling a rabbit out of a hat.
Mr. Daniels.
Yeah. God, nobody's going to remember him. I'm surprised you do, to be brutally honest.
But it wasn't really him I was paying attention to be fair.
Yeah, well, no, that's true. Yeah, you wouldn't say that now, though, would you?
No.
I don't know, though. You might, actually, thinking about it. But anyway, I digress. We've got Baz the Breen bringing up the rear on 18-lap old Ultra Softs. That is not where he wanted to be. He did not want to have to replace that nose in any way, shape or form. Because what does he do now? I'm surprised he just didn't change onto a set of Super Softs when he was in the pits having the nose done.
It could have done. Would they have gone to the end? I mean, you're talking 34 laps. It's almost half the race.
Yeah, but it would help him a hell of a lot. It would get him ahead. Certainly on strat-wise, on other cars that are going to be coming ahead and pitting. And he could always go onto a set of Hypersofts or Ultra Softs for a final stint. In fact, he could probably get into Hypersoft territory, actually.
Could have done. You've also got this sort of added factor that if the driver doesn't particularly enjoy a certain tyre, to then sort of force himself to race on that tyre for another 34 laps to about 45 minutes can be sort of, very frustrating.
Oh, look at that! And the Breen makes the move on Phillips. Phillips goes way too deep as they were coming down round Mirabeau Haute, and De Breen takes advantage, gets past him, and he's back on the back of Prada Cooper. Prada Cooper's only just behind Pullen.
Wow. Yeah, it looked like Phillips was being left or something. He sort of pulled right out of the way. Yeah, just for the overshot his mark. That's great.
Yeah, it basically that's it.
Kept out of the wall, didn't he?
He did stay out the wall, to be fair. He was watching his mirrors, though. That's what it was. And De Breen was fully aware of that because he was really laying down the pressure in sector 1. But look at this.
Yeah.
He's right on the coattails here of Prada Cooper as well as they're coming down to turn 1 there.
Hartman spun. Hartman spun at the end of the Nouvelle. I don't know if there's damage. But he was certainly facing the wrong way.
Well, Hartman's coming through no damage to that front wing to Hartmann's car. So he was very, very fortunate there. But he's not, well, I mean, it's not made a hell of a lot of difference. Stappers is still 33 seconds behind him. It's just made a difference to Airshine. So that's really helped Airshine in a lot of respects.
Yeah, he's just sort of damaged his chances of a podium. Well done to Airshine, though. Oh, Baz Breen's retired.
Yeah, he has. He's DNF'd. And I was just about to call that. Before you said that, I was literally going to say I would not be surprised if Baz Breen DNFs, because he's really pushing way too hard. And I had a horrible feeling that might be the case. And he has DNF'd. It's probably around 71. Well, no, I'm coming through the tunnel now. I've got yellow flags. Yeah. Oh, God. He's on the right-hand side on the exit of the tunnel. He lost it on the exit of the tunnel before he even got out of the tunnel. He's just parked up on the right-hand side there. So he's clearly gone on to a bit of dirty trying to overtake, and I suspect he's probably trying to overtake Peter Phillips. Sorry, Martin Parder-Cooper through the tunnel, went on the dirty side and just lost control and into the walls. Yeah,
it seems like a replica of, I don't know if you remember, Fernando Alonso's moment. In about 2000 and... oh God, when was that?
Well, if memory serves me correctly, he'd already made, I think, one pass through the tunnel doing exactly the same thing.
Yes, yes, that's right.
And then he went to do it a second time and just lost it. On the marbles.
2004 was.
Yeah, that was nasty. So Baz Breen is out. He was looking so promising, showing some fantastic promise, but it just all went horribly wrong for him. But we see this happen. I mean, Baz does come back very often from these situations, but it does seem to happen to him in an inordinate amount of time. Or is that just me?
Yeah, no, you've put a nail on the head there. Yeah, we've seen it so frequently. Just looking at that incident actually with Alonso, it happened on the exactly the same lap that the Breen's incident just happened.
Really?
Yeah, same lap, same corner.
Well, Baz, when you watch this back over and you're facing your hands right now, just remember that you have actually replicated the exact same crash that Alonso did back in 2004. So you're in a pretty select group there.
And we all know what Alonso did for the 2 years after that.
Well, yeah, exactly. So this could be the good tidings, as they say. So anyway, unfortunate, but well, let's get back to what's happening here. We're 48 laps into a 78-lap race, 30 laps remaining. We're getting towards the closing stages of this race. Rob Moldrick going past the back marker there at Marco Pullen. So back marker's now coming in. Guido Airshine picks up another 3-second time penalty. Yes, 6 seconds.
Bogot's just passed Hartmann.
Yeah, he has. Round Mirabeau. Sorry, Nouveau chicane. He's just overtaken him.
Yeah. So
Seb Bogart is now ahead of Damien Hartmann. That's exactly where he wanted to be. Guido Airshine is on 26-lap old Ultrasofts. He's in P2. Rob Moldrick, 25-lap old Ultrasofts. He's in P1. We are going to see Seb Bogart leading this race in about the next 5 laps, I think.
Yep, which would make him the 4th leader of this race. And also, that overtake makes it a grand total of 3 overtakes on track we've seen in this race.
Wow.
Since the start.
That's the ones that we've seen. There may have been a few others that we missed, so...
yeah, fair enough.
But even saying that, it's going to be less than 10, I suspect.
Oh, Pullen's retired.
Yeah, Pullen has retired.
Parkin's had a severe collision with Pullen.
Oh my goodness, yes. Oh, he's right in the middle of the track just before they get down to the full turns. And that was close, because really Strappers nearly went into him there, I think. So yeah, that is really, that's going to be safety car, surely. Yeah, Strappers is coming in. to the pits. I'm sure it's going to be safety car.
I
Ferrari's in
don't know how
as
that's
well.
not.
It's got to be, surely. Well, Parda Cooper's into the pits and out. Stapper's just coming in now, so that puts Stapper's in last place. But no safety car, no VSC.
Maybe they've maxed out the safety cars and VSCs. We've got 2 of each so far. Is there a limit?
I don't know. That's rather odd. I would have definitely suspected Stappers gets a 5-second stop go. No.
Oh dear.
For
this is that's crossing the white line.
Crossing the white line on the exit. I was trying to figure out what it was there, and I just realised, yeah, crossing the white line on the exit of the pit. Not good. But this is looking very good for those front 3 runners. That said, though, Erskine and Muldrink still to pit. I'm just having a quick look here. Hartman cannot go to the end of this race. Droney cannot go to the end of this race. Phillips can't. Oh, Guido Erskine nearly losing it just on the exit of Tabac before he was coming down into Louis Chiron. He's okay, though. But I suspect he's going to be coming in.
He just clipped the wall there as well with the clip the wall on the right hand side. Yeah, almost. It sort of spun the car about 90 degrees nearly.
Now, what he needs to do, why doesn't he just come in and go on to a set of super softs? 27 laps. It's got to be doable on those super softs, surely.
It's probably even doable on another set of ultras. He's done 28 on these.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's exactly, absolutely. Yeah. Is that what he's looking at? Do you think? But
yeah,
even so, why not come in now?
Well, yeah, coming for something.
Do you know what I mean? You've got 27 laps remaining. You're halfway there on the tyres that you're on. He's got Seb Bogart really closed down now to him, and he's literally half a second off him now.
Bogart getting 3.5 seconds on Erskine the last lap.
Yeah, well, he was wobbly. And this is where he's got to be careful now.
Interesting as well, these 2 drivers here, Erskine and Bogart, they're about 10 seconds off the leader, and the leader has to pit.
Erskine is into the pits, so that releases Bogart now into 2nd place. Now this is going to be interesting because it's critical to see where Erskine comes out, because this will have an effect on Muldrink as well, and it gives us an idea of where he's going to go. And he has gone on to, I think he's gone on to a set of ultra softs. Yeah, he's gone on to another set of ultra softs, but he's gone on to 10 lap old ultra softs, so he's having to use scrub tyres.
Oh dear. I feel bad for him because he will have to pit again potentially. I know Bogart is stretching his tyres out.
He might be able to go to the end. He might be able to go to the end. He might be able to go to the end, but he's come out in P4, so he was P3. That means that Muldrink is going to pit.
Muldrink
come out in P3. Yeah, he's going to come out P3, definitely.
And we don't quite know if Hartman can make it to the end on those supers either.
I don't know. 26 laps, 30... No, you're right, he won't. No, he won't. If he does, he'll be lucky. He's going to need another safety car. He's definitely going to need another safety car if he's thinking about that. But we haven't seen a safety car for that crash of Marco Pullen there. So, and he was right in the middle of the, I mean, he was right blocking the right hand side of the roads, unless it was a crane there and they could lift it out quickly. That's probably what it might have done. There's no debris on the track.
Still unusual, you know, car parked in the middle of the track and no more than sort of double yellow wave flags.
Yeah, it's certainly unusual, but that's the hand you're dealt with. So what do? Erskine is staying out. He's on 11 lap old ultra softs. He's just come in. He went up to a scrub set of tyres. 25 laps. That'd be 36 laps on those tyres. He can't do it, can he? There's no way.
No, it's going to be so difficult. You know, you're verging on the impossible, really. I wouldn't say it's totally impossible.
Well, again, it's the amount of pit stops that he's done. I just want to quickly have a quick check of to see how many stops we've actually had during the course of this race from the drivers. And Ershine's done 3 stops. And he's going to be doing 4th.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is his downfall. Dronig's done less. Because he used to do a lot, but he's got that down, so he's down to 2. Peter Phillips 3, Pardicup 3, Stapper's 4. But Rob Moldrick's only done the 1 stop. So you've got to say, even so, he's... It's a tough one, this, I've got to say. It is a tough one. I think, is Moldrick looking to get into a Hypersoft window? Because he's only got to do another 4 laps. If that.
So you're expecting 20 laps on the Hypersoft?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a possibility. I wouldn't like to rely on the Hypersoft tyre myself to do that many laps, but we've seen drivers do it.
You've got to remember, these cars are going to be running with at least 90 kilos less.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
So on that basis,
speaking of,
you know, if he can stay ahead, it could well play into his hands. He's definitely going to come out in P3. He's just going to have to fight Bogart and Ershine, really. No, sorry,
well,
Bogart and Hartman. Ershine's out of it, really, I think, now.
While you're doing those calculations and working out the mass of the tyre usage, I will give a random stat in Synergy. Actually, the record number of pit stops was 5 stops, and it was actually set up in Monaco. And it was set by me.
Really?
Yeah.
I can't believe it though, because I mean, it is, you know, it's one of those tracks that if you can get the track position and the gap between the other cars right, you can really do some great flying stints, Hypersoft, Ultrasofts.
Yeah. Yeah, and your stints will probably be a bit quicker if you manage to stay out the walls.
Well, yeah.
A bit unlike me. 5 of my stops were within about 8 laps. So.
But I've got to say, Adrian, I mean, you know, you and I, well, you certainly race, you know, a few leagues, you know, levels higher than I do. I race. This is a killer race to do. This is a killer killer track to do. I won't even say race. A killer track to do. These guys have now done 56 laps. They've got 78 laps to do. I mean, how could you describe how they are feeling now and how they're going to be feeling at the end of this race? Because everyone sits there and thinks, oh, you know, they're just playing on a, you know, a console. It's no big shake or anything like that.
Oh, mate.
Can you put people straight, Adrian, on this? Because I think it's quite important.
Well, where can I even begin? And bearing in mind that I'm not quick. Okay, I'm not a racer, but just driving this track. Yeah, it just takes so much concentration. That alone can be exhausting. And by come the end of the race, I mean, come the end of even a 25% distance race, you know, I would be sweating. I've done 50% as well, and I've been really sweating. I can't even imagine doing a full 100%, like these boys have. And yeah, I mean, they must be absolutely exhausted.
They've got to be.
Bogart though.
Well, Bogart.
Sorry,
he's closing in.
Yeah, sorry, the battle for P1 just got really close, and Moldrink has not yet pitted, so Bogart's going to have nice clean air in front of him shortly.
I think Moldrink is looking to get into a Hypersoft window. I really do. The more I see him staying out there, he's trying to get into that Hypersoft window.
Yeah. Well, he can dictate it a little bit, can't he? Because he is in the lead, and it is difficult to overtake. Although it's kind of in vain because Bogart hasn't got the car in.
Yeah, that is very true. I think Mulder's going to be going to lap 38. I think he's going to do this one lap now, and he's going to come in at the end of this lap 58. That's then going to release Bogart. Remember, we've got Hartman there as well, but Hartman's a 23-lap-old super soft. So we know they can go to about 30 laps. We might be able to push it 30, 32 laps, but then again, we're watching somebody on ultra softs doing 34 laps, so maybe those super softs can take him to the end.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, time will tell. Hartman will certainly want them to.
Oh, we've got yellows.
It'll be,
as they're coming round.
Yeah, I think that's the glitch. I think that for
it is a glitch.
Not showing as yellow on mine.
Yeah, because it's green as soon as it comes out, effectively.
Yeah.
As they're coming round the tunnel now. Said Bogart
like
keeps having a little peek. He's having a little look, isn't he?
I think he might be trying to sort of fake him out.
Carter Cooper picking up a 5-second stop go. Not what he wanted in that Ferrari. He's already at the back. Oh, I was wrong. He's staying out. He's going for a 35th lap. So
that penalty for Carter Cooper was sorry, that penalty for Carter Cooper was for corner cutting. 5 seconds stop to go for corner cutting seems a bit severe.
He's on the exit of the pits.
Okay.
Must have been. He must have pitted. Or he's gone over that line. Because you can't go. Can you go over the line on the race? You can't, can you?
Yeah.
You can in the race, as long as they're coming out.
Oh no, you can go over the line if you're not coming out of the pit, but not if you are coming out of the pit,
Yeah. So, it could have been there. But Parter Cooper, as I say, you know, obviously DNFs, it's not going to be a true representation, but he did do well, and he stayed out there, but he's not where he wants to be. I think he's going to be disappointed. He will be picking up points, but I think he's going to be a bit disappointed with this this race for himself.
Yeah, I think it will be. As you said, pleased that he's going to be picking up the four points of P8 if he does make it to the end. But yeah, he certainly, I'm sure he feels that he's been a bit hard done by. To be honest, he couldn't have the best of starts today.
No,
really dramatic start.
I think that cost him a lot, and I think is cost him an awful lot really. There, a great shame there. Strappers, he's in P7. These pretty solid race from Strappers as per normal. Always tell Strappers because he always looks like he's locking up.
Yeah, he's had quite a few lockups. So before I do continue talking about Strappers, Hartman has just pitted. Oh, and who's that? Just gone flying past.
Oh, that's Sauber.
Oh no, yeah, that's
Strappers.
Is that?
Yeah, it's Strappers. He's on the back of Damie Hartman now. So Hartman's come in. He's gone on to the ultra softs. Those will take him to the end of this race. 28 laps, certainly. Phillips in the Toro Rosso. Solid race from Peter Phillips. Got to be said. P6. He's done well.
Yeah, he has done. He did really well at the last race as well in Spain. Got his best finish, I believe. Yeah. And it looks like he's found some form, a good run of form in these last two races. Definitely improvement coming through there. I know that he's ranged in our conversations when it comes to DOTD, driver of the day. Yeah.
Sorry, but it's easy to say driver of the day. He's DOTD, to be honest. Yeah, he's certainly come into the conversations. So that is definitely showing promise. It's a shame we can't do a 1, 2, 3 on that, but that isn't the way it works. But equally, Marcel Dronig, I've noticed, a lot less pit stops than I would have expected out of him. I mean, I think he's probably started looking more at his strategy during the race, and it's paid dividends for him, hasn't it? I think in this one.
Yeah, it has done. I think he's been slightly unfortunate as well with a couple of incidents that he's been involved in one way or another, or incidents going on around him. But yeah, he's worked the strategy, as you say, very well. I think he started on the ultra soft tyres, pushed them as far as they'll go, and then now he's on the super soft I don't know if he'll be taking these to the end. It's going to be a push. Another 17 laps to go. He's already done 33. That's
50 laps. I don't know. I think that might be a little bit extreme. Then we've got Guido Airshine. He's in P4. A good race from Guido Airshine. He showed some great pace, certainly during qualification as well. Right up there. We questioned a pit stop earlier, but it paid dividends when he went onto those odd shots. It's got to be said, but the last pit stop, really unfortunate. Had to come in, and he could only go onto a scrub set of tyres. That was not good, really, was it?
Yeah, so unfortunate. And actually, just as we're talking about him,
I know, he's just gone into the barrier there.
To the Razcast. Yeah. He just managed to stop in time, and he just scraped the barrier rather than.
But he picks up a 3-second time penalty, round turn 1, unfortunately. But
I wonder if he gets nervous when we talk about him during the race.
I don't know. If he's watching the stream, it's going to be interesting. He's got at least 9 seconds worth of penalties now, so that could come into play. But at the moment, Droning is 20 seconds or thereabouts behind him.
Yeah.
We were looking at him for a podium, but I think the fact that he's had to go onto those scrub set of tyres, I think that's pretty much put his podium place out of reach, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Not really any sort of fault of his own, but it's just how it goes, isn't it? You know, if you just haven't been able to make the tyres last in earlier sessions and things like that, they're not available to you. Sorry, I'm just going to have to jump to Bogart because it looks like he's going for a move around the outside.
Yeah.
It's coming down into Casino.
Well, he was coming down into the hairpin there, but trying to put as much pressure as he can. And I think, is he going to try and do through the tunnel? But remember, Baz the Breen tried that earlier, and it all went horribly wrong for him. And Rob Maldrick is protecting, it's defending. Oh, and he goes deep into Nouveau Chicane, but can't make that move. It's so difficult, but got to be said, Rob Maldrick driving a very convincing defensive strategy here. He's really doing some great shakes on holding back Seb Bogart.
Yeah, he's doing really well actually.
He's on 39 lap old ultra softs. He's just going to do 40 laps on these now. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, that is crazy. I mean, Maldrick's led sort of 90-95% of this race, and and respect to him because I mean he is certainly a competent driver. We've seen blistering pace from him at previous races. But yeah, this one in particular, for that blinding qualifying lap, put him top. It's just unbelievable. I mean, he deserves to be there, but unfortunately, I don't think it's going to end that way.
I don't know. I'm still not so sure. I really am not, because he's definitely going to go onto a set of hypersofts. The more I watch, the more I think he's aiming for going onto a set of hypersofts. And he gets onto a set of hypersofts. Remember, he is going to come out in P3. He might possibly get ahead of Davey Hartman very quickly, that being the case. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it will be. It's not going to be easy though. That's the thing. Even on the sort of fresh, softer tyre, again, just due to the nature of this track, we've seen. We've only seen ourselves 3 overtakes in this race.
Well, Seb Bogart is just not able to get past him. Maybe he's going to try it into turn 1, but he can't. Maldrick is just defending that line so well. He's not giving.
What the hell?
No, he tried to have a little look in, but he can't. He's got that corner.
Yeah. Oh, Maldrick just bounced off the wall there.
Yeah, back tyre bouncing off there. He's going to have to come in now. There's no way. And it's going to be very, very tricky now, because if he could be susceptible to a puncture, that was a full impact on the side wall of that tyre there.
Yeah.
And you do not want that puncture playing up when you're coming through Louis Chiron and the swimming pool.
The pressure is being applied very well by Bogart. I don't know if you noticed, about sort of 4 or 5 laps ago actually, Rob, we started talking about Chappers. Moldrick did actually get a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Again, nothing that is a result of the pressure.
Moldrick's staying out. I don't believe it. He's staying out for a 40-second lap.
Well, Moldrick has a 3-second penalty, so even if he does, well, Moldrick's going to have to pit actually because he's only used ultra-soft tyres. He'll be breaking the rules if he does not stop for another tyre.
He's definitely got to
he's
stop.
Not use one of the mandatory tyre.
And he's definitely going to go onto a hypersoft. There's no two ways about it. But I really think he's trying to get into that window. I thought he was going to go for the window of 20 laps, but he could be aiming for a 10-lap window.
Yeah, he could do, couldn't he? 10 laps would, I think, would be reasonable on the hypersoft.
And Bogart, I think, is replenishing his ERS because he's dropped back, certainly through the tunnel. He's getting ready for a challenge, and he's getting ready for what he's doing. He's getting ready for Moldrick to come in to set in some blistering laps. That's what he's looking to do, isn't it? He knows that Moldrick is going to come in and go onto those hypersofts. That's the only choice he's got that makes any sense. And Bogart is really thinking ahead of the game. And this just gives you a reflection of the quality of the driver, isn't it? He's thinking ahead of the game. Let me replenish my ERS now because I'm going to need it in maybe a lap or two's time.
Yeah, that's it exactly. That's it exactly. Yeah, he's thinking sort of 2 or 3 moves ahead. Yeah, if not more than that. As a lot of the better drivers, as most drivers try to.
We've got yellow flag, sector 1, 2, sector 2, and this is coming up again. Sector 1, 2, it said.
I think that's the case of back markers slowing down to allow the through. I think that's what that is.
And Peter Phillips picking up a 3-second time penalty.
Has Phillips got a sounded like he had a puncture? No,
he's solid. Board now, said Bogart still on the back of Moldering. Moldering still staying out. I've got a horrible feeling he is not looking to go to the end of this race on those ultra-softs, surely. Oh, damage there to Moldering as he was coming out turn 1, hit that barrier on the left-hand side very hard indeed, and I did think I saw debris fly off, and I don't know if that's front wing or not. No front wing damage. So I'm not too sure what that was bouncing off the walls there, but there was something definitely bouncing off the walls.
Even if there wasn't damage, to be fair, I think Sebastian might have. I think his smile might be getting bigger and bigger as he sees the sort of obvious results of tightening the screw.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
he watches Moldering Yeah. Now,
is Moldering going to come in now, or is he going to stay out? If he stays out, he's looking to go to the end of this race on those ultra-softs.
Which he can't legally because he needs to use
he has to come in, that's right.
Yeah,
Jesus,
he's used ultras and ultras.
So he's going to have to come in no matter what. And he's, well, I'm surprised he's leaving it that. Because at this moment in time, Bogart is looking pretty good on his ERS. And I just think Moldrink's just pushing that little bit too hard at the moment on those tyres. Well, more than a little bit too hard, to be fair.
Yeah. Eddie, I just want you to cast your mind back to the beginning of this race. I don't know if you can remember who I said will and who I said might win.
Not only can I remember it, Adrian, I actually wrote it down, and it was Seb Bogart.
You remember where he started?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, he started right down in P13. And lest we forget, I mean, I think we were both confident he was going to get himself through there, and if anyone could do it, it'd be Seb Bogart. He started on the super softs as we thought he would do. Oh, look at that! Nearly makes the move on the exit to back as they were coming into Louis Chiron. Had a little look in there, and I thought he was going to make it work, but surely Maldering has to come in, but he's not. He's staying out. God, is he really looking to go to the end of this race? Does he think he can hold off? But correct me if I'm wrong. Holding off somebody whilst you've got, let's say, technical issues. If I remember correctly, there was a dark blue car that did that not so long ago.
Yes, yeah, I think you're right. I thought you were about to mention Danny Ricciardo, actually.
I was. Danny Ricciardo, dark blue car.
Yeah, dark blue car, yeah. Yeah, it was only, what was that, 2018, wasn't it?
It was last year.
Last year's race.
This 2018, same cars. Obviously, that was the Red Bull, but that's exactly what he did. I mean, he's Maldering got Ricciardo, or some may pronounce it as Ricciardo.
Yeah.
Not too sure on that pronunciation. I've got to say Ricciardo. I've got to be honest. I've got to be. Yeah, if I'm going to get as close as I can,
but
it's going to be Ricciardo.
I'll be honest. When he started driving, I used to call him Ricciardo, Italian.
Really? I call it. I call him Riccardo.
Oh, very good. Lovely pronunciation.
Well, Italians might say Riccardo.
Very good. The only difference is between Maldering and Ricciardo is that Ricciardo didn't break the rules.
Sorry.
That's right.
But Bogart was having a real look as they were coming round to Beau Rivage there.
I'll tell you what, all of these little...
Contact,
is there contact?
Bogart gets... Oh, no! Maldering tries to cut in. DNFs. Bogart is stuck in it. There's nothing he can do. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness me. That is not what we wanted to see. What an awful shame there. Adrian.
Well, I don't know what to say about that. I didn't expect Bogart to make the overtake there, but he went for it. I mean, I don't know if Bogart would have been aware that Maldering had not used the correct sets of tyres, and would have had to pit anyway. He could have just sat behind him and would win this race.
Well, Maldering is literally stuck in the middle of Rascasse. I mean, I know what happened there. It was blatantly obvious. Obviously, Bogart, perfectly legal. There was contact. Obviously, he was looking to dive in. Maldering, I think, just the red mist just came up, and he was taking that place back, and that was it.
Yeah, I think that's quite a fair analysis of what just happened there. And then that's it'd be one for the stewards to certainly look at. The thing is with Maldering's car, he's on 47 lap old ultra stocks.
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw him sort of almost losing control a number of times prior to that incident as well.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
And the fact that he still legally had to pit anyway. You could say, well, why didn't he come in sort of 5-10 laps ago?
He could certainly have come in. He was within a window of coming in, certainly on 10 laps, at the end of lap 47, to get onto those hypersofts, and he'd still be okay, in my opinion. And I think he was just, trying to push that little bit too hard. Obviously, as you quite rightly say, the stewards need to have a look at that, because the incident preceding that is going to be quite critical. Obviously, as they were coming around Mirabeau Ho, that's where the incident really started, and I guess the stewards need to have a look at that, and that move that Bogart made down the inside. I've got to say, the door was left open, the opportunity was there, and I think it's just one of those things. There was definite contact, and as I say, unfortunately, I think the red mist just came down over Maldering. Great shame, because he's a great driver. He just wanted to get that place back, and he thought he had the opportunity as they were coming round, obviously, that Fairmont hairpin, and it just went horribly wrong.
Yeah, that's right. What I would be asking of Maldering is, what was his plan If Bogard wasn't there, what was his plan? What was he intending to do?
Yeah.
In terms of his strategy, you know,
Yeah.
how much further was he going to go on those ultra softs?
I really think he was planning to do a Ricciardo or Ricardo, whichever way you want to say it, and keep Bogart behind him to the end of that race. I think that's what he was looking to do, and dictate that pace.
Well, if he'd done that, he would have been disqualified for not using the mandatory tyre.
That is very true. He would have had to come in for a hypersoft, and I totally forgot that, and you're absolutely right. But he would have to know that, surely. He had to come in for a hypersoft. He should have come in earlier, and that's the end of it, I think, ultimately. I think he just called it wrong, unfortunately.
Yeah.
That's just one of those things. And Davey Hartman picks up the fastest lap in the meantime.
Yeah.
There's a 1:11.
It looks like there could be yet another twist to this story. Hartman's lap, they just saw it at 1:11.4. That is some 5 seconds faster than Bogart ahead of him.
And Bogart is only 11 seconds ahead of him. No,
yeah,
but is Bogart just
heavily damaged. He's heavily damaged as a result of that collision.
Of course, that collision. Oh, of course. But he can't see any obvious damage to his front wing, but he must have damage there, surely.
It's the left end plate. Left end plate is completely missing.
So we could potentially see Hartman take the win. We've only got 4 laps remaining. Airshine has stayed in there, and I've got to say, fair play to Airshine. He's on 32 lap old Ultrasoft. He's got 4 laps to go. He can do it.
Peter Phillips as well. Let's not forget about him. He's now up to P4,
35 lap pole,
which
P4.
is that's now 2 consecutive best finishes. He was P5 in the previous race, which is the new best, and now he's beaten that here potentially.
Well, let's have a quick look on there. Obviously, we've had a number of DNFs. That was Rob Moldrink, as we unfortunately saw in the Sauber. Marco Pullen in the Force India. Baz Debreen, again, unfortunately, in the Renault. Miguel Torni in the Force India. Zander Hermans in the Williams. No, not the Williams. Zander Hermans was in the Toro Rosso as well. Miguel Torni was in the Red Bull. Sorry, I keep forgetting Miguel Torni's gone over to Red Bull. So Miguel Torni, Red Bull. Zander Hermans in the Toro Rosso. Stan Drumkov in the Williams, Marcel France in the Red Bull, and Jamie Collane in the McLaren early on. Those were the DNFs, but Peter Phillips moved up 6 places from 10. Obviously, he's effectively really maintained his place, hasn't he? But he's driven a solid race. He hasn't got into any trouble, and that's now put him in a wonderful position of being P4 and picking up some valuable points. Yeah, really sort of impressive composure from Phillips. Actually, as I said, it's not a difficult track. I mean, not an easy track. Sorry, to even drive, let alone sort of race, and to get a P4 amongst these guys as well. He's just driven his own race. That's what he's done. He's just driven his own race, got on with what he needed to do, and that's the result of it. So great. Hartman now just. Sorry to interrupt. Hartman now just 4 seconds behind, and there's still 3 laps to go. Yeah, 3 laps
didn't mean
to go.
He's got
his teammate, obviously back marker there, Martin Pardercooper, and I'm sure he will move aside to let his teammate through because he doesn't want to hold him up. He's on such a charge here. Yeah, he moves over, lets his teammate through. Davey Hartman gets past him in the entrance into the tunnel there. So cooperation there between the Ferrari drivers. But as you rightly say, Hartman could still very much get this. But, you know, fantastic. It's got to be said, you know, whether Seb Bogart gets first or second, he's going to be on that podium. What a race from him. I mean, come on, from 14 to P1, as it stands at this moment in time, it's just... I mean, you called it. And we both said we were certainly expecting to be at least, you know, up there. But to P1, that's phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, I might have called it, but I didn't believe it. I thought.
Well, we were confident that he would certainly be in the top 5. That's we were confident of that. Let's say that.
Yeah, I mean, I said. There we go, that would do. I mean, I thought Rob Moldring will win, but then I said, well, Bogart just will win. Like, no matter what we think, that's what's going to happen. And here he is leading the race.
He is, but we've now got Damie Hartman 0.03 of a second off his rear wing. Oh, and he makes the move, but he can't make his stick. He's got to give it back. He's got to give it back.
Surely.
Yeah, has to give it back. That was an illegal move there. Legal overtake.
I wonder if he's going to just accept it and just continue sprinting ahead.
Oh no, Seb Bogart's got a 3-second time penalty there.
That's interesting.
So, well, I've got to say, I thought that was an illegal overtake as they were coming through Nouveau Chicane, but clearly not the case. I'm a bit surprised by that.
No. Yeah, the game didn't think so, but hey ho, you know, who are we to decide that? I was about to say, you know, he's had Damie Hartman sort of put him under extreme pressure at the end of a race before, if you remember at Baku. Bogarт won by just 0.036 seconds, which is the smallest margin in F1 Tonight's history, I believe. And yeah, that race, that section of that race took quite a lot longer than that move did by Hartman. Just went straight up the inside, and that was it, done.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was just, I'm a little bit surprised by that, got to say, but still, that is considered legal and fair. So Hartman takes P1 from Seb Bogart, and Bogart's going to be pretty disappointed with that. I mean, but he can't do much. Look at the pace that Hartman's got on him. It's just, he's already 3 seconds ahead of him.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know, respect to Hartman, he's raced.
He's won the race. Hartman's won the race. Sorry, he's done a fantastic race there. Wins the race. Seb Bogart takes second. Guido Ershine coming through there. Sorry, I missed that there, but great race from Hartman. It has to be said. I mean, he did a good job certainly there, and those hypersofts just sealed the deal, really, didn't they? I mean, they were just eating into that time, as you rightly said. He was taking a phenomenal amount of time out of Bogart. And Ershine crosses the line. Takes P3. Peter Phillips, well, as we say, great solid race from Peter Phillips. Comes round the penultimate turn now. And he'll be picking up P4. Ershine did have penalties there, but obviously the gap isn't going to make enough of a difference. Marcel Dronig will pick up
good race from him as well.
Great race from him. And I think all the remaining drivers, and I say remaining drivers, did a good race, it has to be said. Ershine, we questioned. We weren't too sure whether he was going to maintain that podium finish, but he did. He stuck in there. Obviously, race incidents and helped there. But Ferrari taking the win. Damie Hartman for Ferrari takes the win. Seb Bogart for Haas takes second place, and Guido Ershine for Force India takes third place. Now, this is interesting because Damie Hartman was only on 63 points. Seb Bogart was on 68. So that now means that Damie Hartman
he's leading by 2.
He's leading the championship because he is now on 88 and Seb Bogart is on 86. Yep.
that is pretty significant. Can't get much more significant than that.
Well, you know, as I say, I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, you know, it was a clean move. He did the move, made the move on track, did it, and he got the job done. So, well, you know, what more can be said about that, really? He did a good job.
Yeah, no, he did. I think Bogart might have left the door open a bit wide into that turn, and that is perhaps that's what gifted it to him.
Well, maybe so. It was just, you know, it was ultimately it was a tough one. It has to be said. So yeah, I mean, it was a good race. I think we enjoyed it. It was certainly eventful. 78 laps, as I said to you. It's a bit of a challenge from a commentary point of view, even more so, obviously, from a driver's point of view. But overall, I think it was a great race and great strategies came into play. Great shame, though, it has to be said, with Rob Mouldering. I mean, that was a great shame. And also Baz de Breen. You know, two unfortunate incidents there, but that's the name of the game.
Yeah, as you say, it's a bit unfortunate the sort of last few laps were under those circumstances. Mouldering had a fantastic race, in my opinion. Did well to sort of manage the drivers behind him. I mean, he led of the 78 laps. I'd say he led probably about 68 of those.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, it's just
And
unfortunate
he just went was it a bridge too far? He didn't go a bridge too far. He just went a stint too far, didn't he?
Yeah, perhaps he did. Yeah, perhaps he did.
But great race, certainly, and it's certainly changed around things on the championship. Only 2 points separating the first two drivers in the championship. That's race 6 of season 5 done. Next week is race 7, and we will be in Canada. Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, and what a racetrack that is. And talking of DNFs, I think we might see a few there. I think there's a certain wall of champions that claims its victims.
Does it? Never heard of it.
So we'll be there next week. Make sure you're there next week as well to watch us. It will certainly be an exciting race and exciting towards the championship as we approach the halfway mark. Let's see what can happen in that fight in the top 5 and especially in the top 2. We'll see you next week. From me, it's a good night.
And it's a good night from me.
Good night, everyone.